Government officials insist that this...
That BNC Live has been following from the beginning. A father continues his mission to find out what happened to his son.
Daniel Robinson vanished in the Buckeye Desert.
Daniel Robinson went missing in the Buckeye Desert.
Urgent plea from a father who has scoured the vast Arizona desert himself.
4-year-old Daniel Robinson, and this is a very, very odd mystery.
Daniel Robinson disappeared on June 23rd in the far West Valley.
His parents, David and Melissa, need our help.
I'm David Robinson, the father of geologist Daniel Robinson.
His name, Daniel Robinson. And leading the search, not law enforcement, but Daniel's father, David.
God knows how much we can bear, you know? And at times I feel like I can't really take but so much more.
Where is Daniel Robinson?
And identify they were human leg bones.
But you know what? It's still urgent to me as a father because, we found human remains out here.
David Robinson had only one thought on his mind as he drove the nearly 1,800 miles from his South Carolina home to Phoenix.
I had to find my son. I also want to thank the volunteers that come out here every weekend, volunteering their time. And, without these special people behind me, I wouldn't have a search.
How does a young man vanish off the face of the earth? How does that happen? No record, no sightings, nothing. He's just gone. And when I say a young man, I'm talking about 25-year-old Daniel Robinson. He is the apple of his parents' eye. A young geologist, music lover, good-looking, great grades, the works. So why can't we find Daniel? I'm Nancy Grace. This is Crime Stories. And his dad, David Robinson, is using the GoFundMe money to fund his own investigation and the desperate search for his boy, his son, Daniel Robinson, 25 years old. What happened to him? How did he just disappear? David Robinson, sir, thank you so much for being with us. Tell me, when you first realized your son just hadn't called in a couple of days, that he was truly missing.
Yes, my son, on the 23rd, I did get a call from my daughter. She also lives out in Phoenix. And at times I feel like I can't really take but so much more.
But in his weakest times, David says it's the volunteers that provide him strength.
Everybody know that I call them my extended family. And so this video is the same thing. We all here have one common goal, and that's to find Daniel and also to bring light what happened to other families.
As the Robinsons' extended family light candles tonight, their collective light shines towards that day when their question is answered and Daniel comes home. Josh Sanders, 12 News.
When the lights and camera turn off, I will be here. When the interest and conversation fade, I will be here. When there's no one around, a father will do anything it takes to be there for his son, to protect his family.
Daniel Robinson went missing 4 months ago. This is the last photo his family has of him. He's a 24-year-old geologist, last seen leaving his job site in Buckeye, Arizona.
As the Gabby Petito homicide case garners national attention, another young person has been missing for nearly 3 months, and his family is desperate to find him. 24-year-old Daniel Robinson, a geologist, was last seen on the morning of June 23rd, leaving his work site in the desert of Buckeye, Arizona.
David Robinson had only one thought on his mind as he drove the nearly 1,800 miles from his South Carolina home to Phoenix.
I had to find my son. And I'm still out here searching for him. Thank you guys for coming in this evening Q&A. My name is David Robinson. I'm the father of geologist Daniel Cornelius Robinson. Daniel, a geologist, came out to Arizona to start his career straight out of college. He had got hired with a company called Matrix New World. It's also called Matrix Southwest Groundwater. His job is to check. He got hired on as a field geologist, also called hydrogeologist. His job is to go out to various well sites that he's assigned to check the viability of those wells, as well as the company determined as well as that those wells can produce at least 100 years of water by law here in Arizona, desert state. They have to have these wells that produce that amount of water. And like I said, my son's job is to help determine that. That's what he does. He's a scientist. On June 23rd, my son was scheduled to go to two well sites. He often go out to well sites alone. He often meet a representative from a different company, those drilling companies, and that's when he does his job. Sometimes in the night, and sometimes in the day. But this day, it was both well sites were scheduled for that day, and he made it to the first well site where he took some pictures of the logs. From there, he did go out to a gas station near that area as well. So you guys, you already know the story, those who are familiar with the story, but those who have not, there's two parts of the story. The one side of the story is the person that he was meeting at the second well site works for a company called Weber. His name is Ken. Ken, according to him, and that's what the narrative of the whole police direction in this case went, is under his story. He said my son made it out to that well site with him. They met on the side of the road over there off of Sun Valley Parkway near the Cactus Road Junction. They met out there on the side of the road. This worker said that my son followed him into that desert, the Sonoran Desert. They went a mile west and then had to go 2 miles north to make it up to this well site. Once they arrived on the well site, it was roughly around 9 o'clock, he says, and that they had this brief conversation about the weather. One time he said it either was raining or wasn't raining. But either way, my son eventually waved off to him and got in the vehicle where he was never, ever seen again. As you may know, my son's vehicle showed up in this ravine right here behind me. It's a 20-foot ravine, really close to 3 miles away from that well site, farther into the Sonoran Desert. That vehicle was on the side. It was some clothing 3 feet away from the car in a pile. One boot was tucked on the one end of the vehicle. The other was on the other side where the wheel location is there on the ground, as well as a safety vest another foot away from the pile of clothing. Inside the pants was, according to the Buckeye Police Department, was Daniel's wallet. and his IDs, as well as inside the vehicle was the work computer that he get his assignments on, as well as his cell phone, his keys to his vehicle, as well as some other personal effects. So those type things were found there. So of course, you guys, as to back up a little bit, on June 23rd, I did get a call from my daughter, who also had lived here in Phoenix at the time, and she was brought to aware that Danny may be missing because a coworker, a friend of Daniel's, a coworker that works for a Matrix. Now, when I say coworker, I'm talking about the Matrix. I don't call the guy at the well site a coworker. I know people say it all the time, but that's not how I describe them. I just say a worker, but a coworker to Daniel, a direct coworker from Matrix New World, Matrix Southwest Groundwater, who's also off the job friend of Daniel's, came by her apartment, inquiring to see if he was there. She thought that was strange, first of all, because she didn't know the guy knew where she lived. But of course, he said that Daniel brought him there before, and that's how I remember. But anyway, that alerted her enough where she was worried. Of course, I'm not sure she called her mother. Her mother and I are divorced, but she did call me and told me what was going on. And at that time, first thing you do is to calm your children down. So I tried to calm my daughter down. She's really uptight about it, and to try to make sure that we're doing our due diligence. The first thing we have to do is first call his phone. It was the obvious, continue to call his phone, as well as check with friends and try to get information from his job as well. And so I had my daughter to go over to his apartment to make sure his vehicle wasn't there. The second thing, I reached out to the Tempe Police Department, who's at the time my son was living in Tempe, Arizona. Reached out to the Tempe Police Department to see if they can do a welfare check. His vehicle's not out there. I don't know, somebody stole his vehicle. He's not answering his phone. That's unlike Daniel. We need to go somebody to get into his apartment to make sure no foul play has happened and someone stole his vehicle. Of course, the Tempe Police told me they could not do it because I had mentioned some information that the job gave me, that he was last seen by a worker, according to them, that was out, like you guys know, off of Sun Valley Parkway. I didn't know the word, so they didn't tell me Sun Valley Parkway, but they did tell me the White Tank Mountains. He was near this area called the White Tank Mountains, so I relayed that to Tempe Police Department, and they immediately told me that I would have to call the Buckeye Police Department. That was their jurisdiction, and I would have called them for this welfare check. Quarter after talking to Buckeye Police Department, within that chain of trying to get a missing person report, they told me I had to wait 12 hours before I could report, but also asked for that welfare check. Told them what Tempe said. I believe they was calling Tempe, asked them, can they do a drive-by? Of course, I was told they did a drive-by. They said they didn't see anything. They tried to look through a window, didn't see anything obvious, and they kept going. And so those are the two things initially. Of course, you guys, like I said, I had to wait that 12-hour period. That was a rough time as well. I think I was 2 or 3 hours short of that. And so I had to wait around for that time and to be able to put that missing report. Nevertheless, I was able to do that. Talked to Officer Cruz, who was saying very helpful. He told me that the first thing he was doing was going up and down. That's when I first heard the word Sun Valley Parkway. He's going to go up the Sun Valley, up in that area, Sun Valley Parkway, and see if he's stuck on the side of the road. I heard that road is very long, and I was very relieved of that. But then I realized the time difference from South Carolina to Arizona. It was dark here as well. At that time, I was getting really worried about that. And asked the officer, can they please go out into that desert once I got information from his job. I've been going back and forth talking to coworkers, his job from Matrix, and also keeping in touch with the Buckeye Police Department to try to do everything from home. Either way, I was going to come out if they didn't find them. Of course, you guys know I was really geared to come out to Arizona. But in that time, they did tell me that they was going to ride up and down Sun Valley Parkway. Once I heard, like I said, it was in the desert area that bothered me. I asked the officer, can they go out in the desert? He told me they could not because it's dark. It's nighttime here in Arizona. But they would, because I wanted to put a helicopter out in the air at the time to go search for him. Told him the circumstance he's not from Arizona. Told him my son certain conditions with my son, and that it's unusual for my son to be gone, from family without letting somebody. So those things were very urgent to me and my family. And but they, like I said, they declined to be able to go out to put a helicopter in the air at night. But they did promise me they would do it in the morning. And so I, of course, stayed up the whole night, still getting information, try to get all I can to the police department, work with Officer Cruz at the time. Of course, his shift ended. and a new officer came in. I believe his name was Haley at the time. And of course, in the meantime, I also was trying to get them to put my son in as a missing person. That took some string. I think that took a couple of days before they even consider it, putting his name out there as a missing person. But nevertheless, like I said, you guys, they waited almost 2 days later before they actually did the helicopter search, because before that, when I asked them, waiting on them to do it that next morning, they did call me back, said they was going to have a bird put in the air, but then he ended up calling me back and said it was unauthorized, it was canceled because it was unauthorized because the higher ups, he said it was unauthorized because Daniel's a grown man, and if he want to disappear, if he wants to, he can. When I heard that was assumption that's something that's not like Daniel. I tried to tell him, look, this is not Daniel. He would not go missing without talking to his family, but they didn't want to hear that. Of course, that was another indication for me to go ahead and move faster. And I was going to come up here anyway if I realized Daniel was actually missing and they didn't find him. But like I said, because they came up with that assumption, that prompted me to grab everything I can to start heading west. So you guys know I have been out here since June 26th last year, searching for Daniel. I've been working with the Buckeye Police Department. My daughter and I, my daughter lives here in Arizona. We spend a lot of time going out to airports, to organizations trying to get help with the public, as well as giving all the information we can with the Buckeye Police Department. Also, other detailed things we're trying to locate Daniel. So a lot of work at the beginning. Of course, from a chain of things, I was able to start searching, because I was out there every day with my binoculars trying to see if Daniel was out there in that desert from the roadside, try to look far as I can. Was able to get those searches going, as well as flyer distribution. So this evening, I want to talk a little bit about some of these other families, because over time as well, you become passionate about helping families. So it's not just unique to my family that they have a missing person. It also happens all over this country. And, a lot of families don't get any kind of help. Like I said, from national coverage to, whatever, just put the information out there. So I want to do everything I can for my part to help other families as well in our journey, my family journey, and I, to locate Daniel. So again, I'm here this evening. I put this YouTube channel together just to be able to talk about Daniel's story, answer questions, as well as now to be able to also have other families on whenever I can get families on, and have them on and to share their stories. But since I don't have families coming on, I do want to share a couple stories off the top. I do one in particular that I'll talk about a lot, and you guys have seen me speak about her before. Spoke about her this morning. Her name is Alicia Navarro, and her mother Jessica has been working very hard to locate her daughter. That's a pain that no mother or anybody should go through, is missing their children. And so she's been having it really hard and really rough. I just wanted to be able to, I think I have some freeze ups here, but I want to be able to share her story. And I hope you guys can, just pay attention to her video. I'm just gonna put the video up there, and I'm going to just talk about it on the back end, some information as well. I just want to put her story back out there again. You see some of the stuff on, and real quick, you guys, if you can, please hit that like and share, subscribe button like you see here on the bottom of the screen. Hit that like, share, subscribe button. That definitely help with the algorithms to get this channel out farther. I want to be able to help find Daniel, as well as help other families. So you can do that now, and I really appreciate that. But like I said, I put her information here for you guys on the bottom of the screen there. Alicia Navarro is her name. You guys get information. You can use this information on the bottom of the Glendale Police Department, and also the Anti-Predator Project. There's a number there. But I want to play a video, and then I'll go talk about this on the back end. So you guys can follow along with that as well. So I'm going to share a screen so for you guys. And please, if you can help this family. I met her mother, I met Jessica, and it's very painful, like I said, to have her daughter missing out there this long. And so we need to try to do everything we can to bring her back home. I wish you guys would definitely do that. All right. So here we go here.
My name is Jessica Nunez. I am Alicia Navarro's mom. My daughter disappeared on September 15, 2019. She left a note indicating, "I ran away. I will be back. I swear. I'm sorry, Alicia." Since that day, there has not been a trace of her. She liked helping others. My daughter is a sweet, loving, smart child. She has autism, so she has challenges, and I'm very worried for her. She loved penguins. She loved reading books. And she's a very smart girl that liked technology. If you could please take a moment to look at my daughter's photo. She could be your daughter, your relative. So please take a moment to look at that picture and see if you could help to be able to locate my daughter and bring her safe home.
Okay, thank you all again. I really appreciate that. Like I said, Jessica's daughter, her young daughter, Alicia, she was missing ever since September the 15th, 2019, apology. And she's been missing from Glendale, Arizona. And she's age, well, she was missing in 2000, date of birth September 20th, 2004. She's been missing. She is now, according to this card, is 15, but it's closer to 18 now. She's her age, female, of course, and her race is Hispanic. She had brown hair, brown eyes, 4'5" in height, and also 95 pounds. So, she's a child. You guys, I said this before, she's a child. And if we can bring her home, that's what our job is as well, to help her mother get her back. So anybody have any information about her daughter, please reach out to the number you see on the bottom of the screen, and try to see if we can help her as well. So also, I want to put up that her information here as well. So you go to NamUs and you can get some of the information about her case. Of course, like I said, all the information is there. And, look out for her, right here in Arizona. If you're in Arizona, I don't care where you're at, you never know what happened. People move people places and things like that. So, like I said, she's a child. We need to bring her home back to her mother and, end that pain that her mother's going through. So, definitely, I know that pain oh so well. So, thank you guys for paying attention to that. Also, I wanted to talk about some other families, but right now I want to go to the comment section and want to first of all tell you all thank you again for coming to tonight's Q&A. I do want to talk about one thing I wanted to put up as well, and I would put that up soon. But I want to talk about some things about Daniel's case, but I will talk about other families. But like I said, I really appreciate you guys coming in this evening and just being a part, and definitely sharing Darren's story, being champion to everything that I have been doing here in Arizona, and definitely, like I said, I'm just very grateful. I'm trying to put some information up. I'm looking for this one thing, Shiro's Nation. If you guys can go to her channel as well. She have a lot of content there, and she definitely has some information there that I really enjoy to see, because she has some facts about my son's case that I really, like I told you guys before, I really endorse that because she's right on point, and I want to share that. I'm going to try to put that up right now, and I believe I have the right one. She have several, so you can check them all out. Very, very good points that she have there as well, and I just want to put them up. I was going to put them up real quick. She did get permission from her to put those things up right now, so I just want to go ahead and try to put them up now, so we can go there first, and then we'll come back. And I wanted to talk about Daniel's case as well as some of the other families who have missing loved ones that story that need to be told, and definitely try to find some answers. These are facts you can't find some answers, for these other families. So, all right, here we go. I'm going to put them up there. There's one that I want to play here, and like I said again, I did get permission from Sheroes Nation to do this, and I'm really am grateful to her as well. So, all right, and let me see here if I can screen share this real quick here, and we're going to go with this. Hold on a second here. Make sure I get this right. Okay.
These are facts you can't ignore about the Daniel Robinson case. What's up, YouTube? My name is Shiro, and welcome to my channel where I talk all things true crime, missing persons, and I share the untold stories of those in the Black community that need more attention. If you're new here, I want to welcome you. Come on in. Come on in. Feel free to suss out my vibe. See if you like it. And if you do, hit that subscribe button. If you are a returning subscriber, you already know what's up, fam. So good to have you back in the virtual space once again. And I appreciate you so much. Thank you, thank you, thank you for your continued support. Daniel Robinson is a 25-year-old geologist who went missing on June 23rd, 2021, after leaving his worksite in the Arizona desert. If you haven't yet, check out the full story in the link below. Here are some facts about the case that are sure to leave you scratching your head. Number 1, ghosted by his employer. Daniel Robinson is a geologist who worked for Matrix New World Engineering in Phoenix, Arizona. Though he allegedly went missing on duty after leaving his work site in the Arizona desert, the company didn't post about the disappearance of their employee for 7 months. Daniel went missing on June 23, 2021, but his employer didn't publicize his disappearance on either of their 2 social media accounts.
Hold up. Wait a minute.
Until February 3rd, 2022, which was National Missing Persons Day. They even had the audacity to include in the post, "We stand with his family and friends and are committed to continue the search to locate him." How's that? And what exactly do they mean by committed? Because by definition, to be committed to something means A, to carry out or perpetrate, B, to pledge or bind to a certain course or policy, or C, to be dedicated to something. Now, it has been confirmed that in the beginning, a few employees from the company joined a couple searches here and there. Well, let's just say I personally have a problem with this. I would have expected more. Someone even went as far as to create a new Instagram page back in October of 2021 in the company's name. I guess that was supposed to signify support in the search for Daniel. Well, that didn't last long. They posted a few photos over the course of 10 weeks and kept it moving. And by the way, the whole point of supporting an effort on your page is so that the current following on your page sees your post.
Duh.
It appears they may have just been covering their asses just in case someone came around later and asked, "Hey, why aren't you guys searching for Daniel?" And that way they could look like they were being the responsible people they aren't. Number 2, allegedly, the job had no safety protocol for their remote workers. Though it's a small firm with about 50 to 200 employees, in September of 2021, Matrix New World Engineering was listed in the top 200 environmental firms by ENR, the Engineering News Record online magazine. According to recordreach.com, it has a current revenue of approximately $32 million. So it appears financially they're doing okay for a growing company. But even though they made a monetary donation in search for Daniel, they have never formed a search party of their own to look for him. Mind you, this is a job which required him to work in remote areas such as the one he was last seen. And there is no evidence to support Daniel even went missing on his own accord. And therefore, the possibility he was injured on or abducted from his job site still exists. Allegedly, Matrix New World had no protocol in place for their remote workers to actively verify their location while on duty and has not assumed responsibility for Daniel's disappearance. They have not shown an active interest in this case, and the effort they've put forth, well, at least in my opinion, seems a little bit more political in a sense. Like, let's make an effort just so we don't look like buttholes. But my point is that they failed him twice. First, by not taking measures to ensure his safety, and second, by not initiating the effort to look for him as soon as he went missing. Number 3, If the coworker says it happened, it must be true. It appears that the entire focus and direction of Daniel's disappearance is solely based off one man's account, Daniel's coworker, who admits to seeing Daniel on the morning he went missing. Apparently, the Buckeye Police Department has great confidence in his testimony, which in turn, in my opinion, has had a major impact on the direction of this case. But there were contradictions in his statement to investigators with reference to the timeline of events and what happened the morning Daniel disappeared. For some unknown reason, Ken's inaccuracies don't seem to raise a big enough red flag to law enforcement. Unfortunately, in my opinion, their belief in his testimony plays a large part in why this investigation is still considered to be just a missing persons case. Because think about it, if his story doesn't uphold, it would unravel every theory they've come up with to this point. And that would mean that he could be withholding information, thus making him a person of interest, and therefore heavily support the argument that Buckeye needs to open up a criminal investigation. If he were... You know what? Never mind. I just want to know, why is it that in some cases you find that just because a particular person says something and appears to be a nice person, law enforcement will write it up as the gospel and conduct their entire investigation based off the testimony of one individual, as in the Lauren Smithfield's case, when law enforcement let this random guy walk out of her apartment without properly questioning him because, according to them, he was such a nice guy. And even after finding evidence in her apartment contradicting his statements, nothing was done about it. So, in this situation, Daniel's coworker gets to be the nice guy who seems like he's telling the truth. And even when it's brought to the attention of the authorities that his story doesn't add up, it just gets ignored. That's the frustration we are dealing with here. But keep in mind that all of this information is alleged, so therefore I, nor anyone else privy to this gets sued. Number 4, law enforcement lied. Not only did the Buckeye Police Department enter Daniel into the National Missing Persons database 2 weeks later than they said they did, they also did not fill out very important details about Daniel's description that a person would need if they needed to check the website and verify his identity. As many of you know, Daniel is missing his right arm, though nowhere in the description does it say this. As a matter of fact, they just left this part blank, and photo images of Daniel were not updated to the national website until July 9th. That was also the first time ever that a picture of his vehicle had been posted to the site as well. Number 5, the Buckeye Police Department has psychic powers. If you go to the BuckeyeAZ.gov website under the Daniel Robinson investigation overview and scroll down to July 9th, you will see a map of the aerial search the Buckeye Police Department claims to have conducted on that day. But what you will also notice is the distinct marking indicating the location of Daniel's worksite and another showing the location of where Daniel's Jeep was found. Though it wasn't until 10 days later on July 19th, the Jeep was actually found. At least that's the information that was put out to the public. So how exactly did Buckeye know the location of where the Jeep would be found so far ahead of time? I think I know.
All I gave her was my name and my birthday, and she started telling me everything that was going on.
I mean, if all you need is a name and a birthday, either one of them is psychic or they called one. Duh.
As a community, we have the right to demand answers. And I'm in no way anti-law enforcement. I am only anti-corruption. My people deserve better. What are your thoughts about all this? If you would like to catch up on everything I've covered thus far, the links will be provided to you below. Also, the family could use your help. One thing that's needed more than anything right now are your donations. If you would like to find other ways you can support, go to pleasehelpfinddaniel.com. I'll be sure to leave the access link below. Please note that my views on how law enforcement and others have responded to this case are strictly my opinion and does not in any way reflect or speak on behalf of the Robinson family. Every judgment or criticism that I make is independent of the family's views. I speak for myself and I take full accountability for anything I say on this channel. To stay up to date and get real-time notifications on this case and more, hit that notification bell so that you don't miss a beat. Until next time, love hard on the ones you love, stay around people who make you smile, and make it your mission to laugh as much as you can. May your heart always be super, super full until your joy spill over. And until next time, my name is Shiro, and I'm out.
All right. Thank you again. Thank you, Shiro Nation, for that. Like I said before, and I told her this off air.
Welcome back.
Let me see if I can get this other video out of here. But really grateful for her for that video. Watched it for the first time, and I was like, wow, she's definitely on point. I really did enjoy that she putting the facts there, and and put it together very well. I couldn't say those things better myself. Did a very good job. So thank you, She Rose Nation. I wish I had the applause button. I can definitely do that as well. But I just wanted to share that with you guys. You can see the point, that she was making. Very important. Like I said, I endorsed that myself. I see her point, and the views that she has is my views as well. So just want to put that out as well. Also, I want to tell everybody, thank you again for coming to this Q&A. Thank you, Annette, for being here. Thank you for Tracy for being here off the YouTube side. I really appreciate you guys showing up. Also, I have Sophia. Thanks so much for being here and moderating, and definitely helping out in that chats. You guys, if you want to, that's Sophia had that here. That's the donate button. If you go to pleasehelpfinddane.com, and you can find a donation button there. That would help me fund everything I'm doing here. Everything, keep me here in Arizona, keep my boots on the ground, as well as everything that I'm really trying to do here in support of finding my son. So I really appreciate that as well. If you guys can help out there. Thank you, Greenlight 8. Thank you so much for being here as well. D Love, thank you so much for being here. I really appreciate it. Thank you. Let's see who else I got. Sophia has some more information here. You guys can sign that petition also on pleasehelpfinddaniel.com. Hit that petition button. I really need you guys to do that. Put your voice to that petition. It's 120,829 voices. And then you can add yours. If you have multiple email addresses, you can do it multiple times. That's just your voice amplified. So I want to tell you, thank you, Sophia, for putting that information up there as well. Also, thank you, Shannon, for being here and on this Q&A as well. And I have my opinions about the Buckeye Police Department as well. It just that those guys have treat my son's case very lightly. I really contribute that to the reason why I haven't found my son to date is because of their slow action and very little action at the beginning. Like I tell you guys, one of my mission is to be an advocate for changing the policies. A lot of times these police departments don't even have a policy towards when you can put in a missing person report, but they'll tell you that on the phone. But then they'll try to cover themselves when that person say, "Hey, they told me this," but they'll say, "Oh, we don't have a policy. You can just call in a time and put a missing person report in." But that's not what they tell you on the phone. So that's why I'm saying anytime you deal with law enforcement, always record the conversation. Always keep your receipts and things like that, because you never know when to come back in handy. You're just a person. Hey, look, you say, hey, look, I'm a person that always record my calls. Especially one part of the state is Arizona. So you guys definitely make sure you stay on top of those things, because a lot of times they'll tell you that. I get it. Sometimes grown adults leave mad or whatever the case may be and come back home, or they decide to leave. There's nothing wrong with a grown person to leave. I get that. You're an adult. You can do what you want to do with your life. But when families know something is wrong, when families know that something is very strange, I'd rather them to say the family feel like it was odd and strange. The same words they use for coworkers, odd and strange, that he took off because he never would do anything like that. And versus the odd and strange they wanted to use from some workers, they use plural, when Daniel is a field geologist and rarely coming to the office, for them to even have an assessment about how Daniel's character is. Saying they don't know Daniel as well as his family know him. So definitely they should be listening to family. So those type things when it comes to reporting is one of the things I'm advocating for. So you guys, please sign that petition. When those things come, when I God bless, I do find Daniel. I'm still be fighting for things, changes and things like that for other families. So they don't have to go through that. They don't have to wait 12 hours to report something they already know. Like I said, that lack of action, that slow movement, they say the first 24 to 40 hours is crucial. That's if somebody a homicide. But when it's a missing person, they're alive and you can save them. I say the first 5 minutes. The first minute, as soon as you call and tell them what was going on, they need to get to work and start working towards finding that person, because every moment literally count. Every minute count. You never know what's going on. That's when a crime is happening and things like that. So you don't wait till the crime happen and then after the crime happened, you're trying to work 24 to 48 hours to get answers to who did it. No, you need to try to stop the crime if you can. That's also a function of the police department. So we're going to go ahead and try to make sure that we're pushing towards changes. And there should be no policy and some real action done after that for a family to be able to call in when they know their loved ones better than anybody. They know. I've met some families who tell you they have loved ones that are disappearing a minute all the time. They know those family members. They've been having problems like that since they were children. So they know this person. Hey, there's from time to time they just want to go and just be to themselves. They're not bothered, right? Because they know they loved one. But I know my loved ones as well. Every family who report their loved one missing know their loved one, and so they were definitely going to put it out there to the police department. Those police department need to act as if it's their own. If it's their child, I guarantee you, any officer lose their child, don't come home when they get off from work, working all day in the police department, and they come home and their wife or husband say, "Hey, Billy Bob has went missing. He didn't come home from school," or whatever the case may be. They ain't gonna say, "Well, he's in college, where he's a grown man and he'll show up. We'll just wait until he show." No, they're gonna be out there looking for him. They're gonna immediately go out there and look, and they can't find him. They have their whole department looking for him. So it happened. It happened just that way. So I need them to always approach every family situation the same, because nobody should have to go through that kind of stuff. So thank you, Coco Puff, also for being here as well. Thank you, Balance, for being here as well. You guys coming in this Q&A this evening. I really appreciate that. You guys, thanks, Sophia, for putting this up as well. You had a PDF there on pleasehelpfinddaniel.com. You guys want to definitely help me out with these flyers. I will have a meeting tomorrow for the ambassador part. If you guys want to come out tomorrow evening to join me on that meeting, the Zoom meeting, you can go to pleasehelpfinddaniel.com and look on the front page. There's a Zoom link there. It'll be 5 o'clock here, Arizona time tomorrow. That's 8 o'clock p.m. East Coast time. You can join me on that Zoom, or if you guys can, you go to also pleasehelpfinddaniel.com and hit that PDF tab, and you can, the PDF come up, the flyers, you can print them out yourself. I did it this morning as well. Again, I was holding up. These are the flyers here. That's exactly how I have them printed out. You guys don't have to necessarily do it that way if you want to do it yourself. On the back end, of course, you guys see it, but you don't have to make it that small. I just like to have the size of a index card. It's because somebody want to be able to put it in their pockets and carry it along with them in their pocketbook or whatever, and be able to show people. Also have the PDF. You'll see the PDF that has you guys see the QR code that's right there embedded in there as well. You can also have that. So, you run to somebody, you want to share it, they can just take their phone out, hit that QR code, and then they get the website come up, and they can do the same thing. So also non-volunteer search. You guys go to pleasehelpfinddaniel.com and you look under the search and other ways tab. Please fill out that form if you guys want to help you in another country, another state, and you want to be able to help everything I'm doing here, me and my team. You put your skill sets, your information about your skill sets and what you do, and that helps. Because like I said, I keep mentioning about the launch of the Daniel Robinson Foundation. That time is coming. It's really close. We're very close to that as well. And, definitely want to be able to have people and who can help us in that side of things as well. So be able to help other families. All right. Don't forget to hit that like, share, and subscribe button. I really appreciate that. Again, thank you, Annette Cook, for being here. And if you have a question, thanks, Sophia. You put a whole lot there, and I really appreciate that. When you're asking a question, please put the Q there before your question, or the word question itself, or some question marks. That help out, because I'm going to come down the comment section. I will be coming kind of fast, and I don't want to miss anything. But before I do that, I want to share another a family of the missing. This couple of videos. It's not going to be a lot of information just talking about it, but I want to put the video there for you guys to be able to see what's going on with these families. And let me see if I put this first one up here, get this going. And so when I get this going, I would share it, but I'm gonna get it set up first. But yeah, definitely want to be able to share some of these families' stories because it's painful to watch these especially the children missing, their loved ones looking for them. But anyway, you know, they don't have any answers. So I like I said, from a person who's know firsthand, from a family who knows firsthand how what those families are going through, I definitely want to do everything I can to share their stories. So again, I'm gonna put a star here by yours, Sophia, so I can know where I'm left off, so I can make sure I don't miss anybody's questions. But definitely I want to share a screen again with you guys. I'm just going to play a couple of videos, and I want you guys to follow along, and then we'll get back to these questions. So I'll be coming out of the comment section and try to get these questions fast as I can. So thank you again. Thank you again, everybody.
Well, the community has not lost hope in finding Relisha Rudd. It's been more than 8 years since anyone has seen her. Tonight, activists, the D.C. Police Department, and other organizations held a Remembrance Day event in her honor in Northeast D.C. Our Megan Rivers joins me in studio tonight. And Megan, we also have a new picture of what Relisha might look like today, yeah?
Yes, tonight the National Center for Missing and Exploited Children released a new image showing what Relisha might look like. It was 18 days before she was even reported missing, which is probably the most frustrating part about this case. The community activists we spoke to today say it's still possible that she's alive and hope that sharing pictures of her as often as possible will one day lead them to her.
Relisha is everybody. The next child will be Relisha.
At 8 years old, Relisha Rudd had already had her share of challenges. At the time of her disappearance, she was living in a shelter in Southeast D.C. The last time anyone saw her was with the janitor, Khalil Tatum. Before D.C. police could question him, he died by suicide. Henderson Long hosted Monday's Remembrance.
You can save one family. If you can help one family, you did. You better off than you was a day ago.
Focus Phil is a DC podcaster and activist. His shirt bearing Relisha's face is worn, but until she is found, he's vowing to wear it as often as possible. Disappointed that nearly a decade later, there's still little information about her disappearance.
The mom won't come forward or anything, so she has nobody really fighting for her. And then we started doing things like, you know, search parties and remembrance days. That's not a good thing at all. I want to keep her name alive.
The National Center for Missing and Exploited Children released a new age progression image of Relisha. She's now 17 years old. ANC Commissioner Aaron Palmer, who represents a portion of Ward 4, says Relisha's disappearance is a reminder of the insecurity so many in D.C. are dealing with. Housing.
In this instance, and in many instances, this is a child who deserved protection, who deserved the stability of a home.
Now, if you think that you recognize that face, or if you have information about Relisha's disappearance or whereabouts, you're asked to contact DC Police. There is a $50,000 reward for information. Lorenzo?
Yeah, we're holding out hope that she is found soon. All right, Megan, thank you so much.
Thank you all again for that.
Relisha Rudd disappeared 7 years ago this coming Monday.
Thank you again for being able to follow along with me on this. I want to go ahead and pull that back down. I have one more I'm going to do really quick here. If you guys can keep bearing with me, I want to be able to share these families. I want to get better at trying to share these stories and presenting them a lot better. You know, of course, I told you guys after working very hard for Daniel, it's very difficult to learn how to utilize. I wish I could do things like Shiro Nation, for instance, does put things together very well. Be able to do that, but I don't have the time to actually sit and definitely learn how to actually get those things together. So what I do have is my ability to be able to show these stories, and I just want to put one more up there for you guys to watch. And if you guys know any information as well to help these families, definitely by all means do that. Like I said, again, these families definitely want to be able to get these stories out there for these families. So they're missing loved one and missing children, and just want to make sure they are heard, making sure these families are heard. All right, here we go again.
It has been nearly 6 years since a Richmond woman disappeared, and her family continues to search for answers.
Tonight, crime insider John Burkett, in partnership with the Reopen the Case Foundation, spoke with Keisha Jacobs' mother about the exhausting and emotional mission to find her daughter.
For nearly 6 years, a Richmond mom has awakened to wonder if this is the day she finds out what happened to her only daughter. Keisha Jacobs disappeared in late September 2016. Since, her mom has been on an exhausting and emotional mission to find out where she is.
I'd have had like so many people coming to me, Miss Jacobs, if it wasn't for you, I wouldn't be able to make it through my situation. I look at you, you inspire me. I was like, y'all just don't know what goes on behind my doors. The days I cry, the days that I can't get out, I don't want to get up out of bed, but there's always something in the back of my head like, you got to get up. And if Keisha, if you can hear me, I love you with all my heart and soul. And mommy misses you. And I'm never giving up, baby. Keisha was dropped off here by one of her friends about September the 26th.
Keisha Jacobs, she was 21 years old at the time of her disappearance. I specifically remember mom telling me that her daughter would not run away, even though police had said, well, she's an adult, she can go and come as she pleases. She was very worried about her daughter and thought something had happened to her.
So Wednesday came. That evening, I'm sitting in my living room, my son and a couple of my friends, and I get a knock on the door. It's Keisha friends. The guy, DeMarcus, who dropped her off at the house. And on Broad Street. And a couple other friends. So I'd say it was like 5 or 6 of them. Then they proceeded to tell me that, hey, we went to the house that we dropped Keisha off at. And the guy said that she wasn't there. I was like, so you did what? What house is this? So I was very upset and was like, take me to this house. So I made them show me exactly where this house was, which was like maybe a few hours after they had already been to this home. So I was furious because that guy could have had enough time to do anything he wanted to do with my daughter by the time we got here. The person that was here answered the door and he said, yeah, he knew Keisha, but he knew Keisha through one of her friends. He said he saw her. First he said it was at 5 o'clock. I told him that wasn't right. Then he changed it to 5:30. And then he changed it to 6. And then I proceeded to call the police to let them know that his story wasn't adding up. And this was the last known place that my daughter was seen.
In our reporting over the last 6 years, there has been a person of interest in this case. However, we've never named him because he's never been charged with the disappearance of Keisha. This certain individual back then when Keisha disappeared had charges brought against him on the 19th of September of 2016. This is a week before Keisha disappears. And those charges were abduction, rape, and strangulation. The rape charge was dropped, but he was later sentenced for the other 2 crimes.
The police arrived, but he had called another detective here.
I don't know who the detective is, but the very bizarre part of that is that this certain individual called a detective who was working on a case that he had with him and told that detective to come up to the location. That detective told everybody to stay outside and he would go inside and look.
Once you go out the back door, it's a basement that's on the back porch. It leads down some steps. It's like underground, under the house pretty much. I found that out. And my first instinct was like, oh, this man could have had Keisha down this basement the whole time when the police came to look or when that detective walked through the house, and nobody would ever heard him because it is so far in the house. It's like nobody would have known she was there.
Has police shared any evidence whatsoever from that case that we know?
They haven't shared much as far as evidence. We have learned through the years some of the stuff they've collected, but they've asked us not to leak it out there because obviously it could ruin their case. Like I drove by 3 days straight and forensics was there. So that's what I do remember of the case, that you go up there and the forensic van was parked out front and they were doing the thing.
This is the hardest thing I ever had to do in my life. I just want my baby to come home, and if you see anything or think you've seen her, please call so she can come home and she can be okay.
To me, I feel like the proper stuff with the police department wasn't done from the beginning when I reported Keisha missing, because it took them a whole week before that they even took any interest or tried to do anything with Keisha's case.
A lot of people in the community come forward, not only in Richmond, but throughout the Commonwealth of Virginia. We've had sightings as far as Victoria, Virginia.
Breaking news about the disappearance of Keisha Jacobs. Richmond police say after 14 months of intense investigation, they believe foul play is involved.
In the years past, I've grown to know Tony, Keisha's mom. This woman has been through a lot. I remember when this first started happening and Tony would tell me about the mysterious Facebook and social media messages she would get.
People put Keisha's face on a Muslim girl and said the Muslims have her. I had people call me playing on the phone saying, Mom, come get me. But then I realized a lot of it was people playing cruel jokes on me.
You know, Keisha disappeared in September of 2016. Her son was murdered at the Motel 6 on Midlothian Turnpike months later.
I'll never get to tell my son I love him again. And I'll never get to hear it again. And I'm just praying Keisha comes home so I can tell her I love her.
The guy that was serving time for her son's death, the killer in her son's case, is already out and about. He's already served his time and he's out. So obviously that's bothersome for her. And it would feel really good if we can get her some justice for this case.
I don't believe I completely mourned my son's death. I haven't. I can't, because I'm scared it's going to take me to a place that I won't be able to come back from and be able to do what I need to do to still fight for Keisha, because I have to keep fighting for her. I just need somebody to put themselves in my shoes. What would you do if this was your loved one? Because there's no way anybody can just disappear and nobody sees nothing and knows nothing.
Former RPD Chief Alfred Durham deemed Keisha's disappearance foul play about 14 months after September 26, 2016. Since, the case has changed detectives' hands at least twice. If you have information on Keisha's whereabouts, call 833-RTCF-NVA or submit info via email at tips@reopenthecase.org.
All right, thank you guys again. When I watched that, I have it was very painful to watch that. It's one thing, it's two things. It sounds so familiar to Daniel's case and the way law enforcement dropped the ball. When I told you that first moments when the loved one knows something's wrong and they report something and they drag their feet, that caused a lot of this reasoning why people don't find their loved ones. So I really feel for that family. Keisha Jacobs' mother, the cruel jokes that the public put on her. A lot of people don't understand. Just like she said, she couldn't even really grieve her son's death. And she's trying to stay strong mentally. And because she know if she get to that point, she'll be ineffective for Keisha. So I know that so well too. Keep your mind sharp so you can fight against law enforcement, so you can fight to continue searching, to be able to fight those who come on things like this Q&A and disrupt, putting porn up or giving me death threats and stuff like that. So that type of stuff, you have to kind of dodge all of that. It's a lot to having a missing loved one. I don't know how it is for every family, but I do know how it is for myself. And then hear Keisha's mother speak about those things. That's why I say personally, that was really personal to me, because to hear someone else say some of the things that I had to deal with here in Arizona while searching for Daniel and trying to keep my mind straight and deal with a lot that people would throw at you, and at the same time trying to stay effective. So, if you guys heard information about this young lady's situation here, you know anything, you saw the information there, you can reach out and to this family and try to help much as possible. And anything, tip line, you can help as well. So again, I just wanted to put that out there. I want to get back to this questionings. You guys have any questions and you want to be able to voice those questions, this is the time. I really thank you again, Sophia, for putting that up. You guys put the word question before your question, also letter Q. or question mark, something like that as I'm coming down the comment section, which I will now be coming down kind of quickly. I want to be able to grab them like Annette have done here. Thank you, Annette. The question is, has the congressman or women, congresswoman, mayor, and such been emailed about the Buckeye Police Department and Daniel's case? Yes. A matter of fact, when it comes, if you talk about Buckeyes, the elected officials, yes, I went to the city council meetings twice. First time I sat there to let them know they knew who I am. If after almost 40 some weeks of searching out there in the desert and finding human remains and suspicious items and being public, their story went nationally. Being out on the public, having CNN coming down on the police station and things like that, to News Nations and some of these other outlets, even Red Table Talk. These people coming out to ask Buckeye questions and things like that. They know who I am. They know who I am on the ground. Why am I here and what I've done, where I'm from. They know everything about me. I'm sure they did all kinds of things. So they know who I am. And I reached out to them, sat in their city council meeting. Again, like I said, the first time, just to let them see my presence, see who I am, say, hey, I'm not telling them, look, my presence was just to say, I'm here, I'm not going nowhere. And hopefully they would have said something to me. They haven't. Came back again, this time with Daniel, bearing Daniel's shirt. I had been able to get my 3 minutes and be able to tell them again who I am, what I'm doing, and how far I'm going to be here for my son. And and then they still, like I told you guys, them guys are so stone-faced. I look at the comparison between the Tempe police station as well as Phoenix, and also Sheriff's own office, where the welcome was totally different. Totally different. These people have empathy and have a heart. Not Buckeye, not at all. The mayor, vice mayor, city manager, and so on. So yes, definitely emailed them many times and even come up to their location. So to answer that question, I have reached out, but they don't reach back. So that's the deal. All right. Thank you also, Gina, for being here on this Q&A. I really appreciate you coming out and also helping. Thank you so much. All right. Thank you so much. And thank you so much for all those many flyers you put out there, as well as your fight out there in the desert with us. You've been out there with me in the desert, 118 degrees. I really appreciate your hard work. So I want to be able to point those things out as well for those who know, who can recognize right here and say that. Thank you so much also, the Scooby-Doo Life. Thank you so much for being here. And I really appreciate that. I really appreciate your comment there. I really appreciate it. Thank you so much. And I do see, I think there's a question. Can the FBI do a lie detector test on everyone who knew and met there? I wish they would. If the FBI come into Dane's case, that would be very great. You know what I'm saying? I put in, asked for it. The Buckeye Police Department, they had to put a request into the FBI. I was, you guys know the story. I asked them with a striking letter. My son went missing in the crime scene. You guys, all them human remains out there, as well as the suspicious items, the cell phones that we found, all that, burnt cars, you name it, things we found out there would suggest a criminal place. That area out there is very criminal. A lot of criminal activity happens out there. I just went out there yesterday and saw some tape that looked like the police tape or whatever. Some crime happened. Before, when I found the last time I was out there, Buckeye didn't mention it to the public. They was out there with crime scene tape too, because they actually discovered a body that wasn't decomposed yet and all that kind of stuff. So crimes happen out there. But to make a long story, I put that letter there to the Buckeye Police Department chief all the time. Of course, you guys know that he responded, first of all, accusing me of holding back evidence, and then at the same time saying, he always throw those little accusations against me. And then at the same time saying that he already was asking the FBI to come and do a case review. Of course, my attorney immediately, when he sent that letter, said he's going to do that to get that to be a part. And of course, you guys know they do things underhanded, behind the scenes, and whatever they said to the FBI, whatever went between the agent and themselves, they came back to me and told me that the FBI said that you, Mr. Robinson, doing such a great job on your own. We don't need to come in, that type deal. So that's what kind of stuff we get, belittling stuff to, hey, we doing low flying helicopter with Phoenix Firebird. Man hanging out the window so low, and Miss Riley, you hold your hand up in the air, you can touch the bottom. I mean, they say belittling things to me. I think they think I'm some stupid person, or they can joke around when my son is missing. Think I don't really catch on this sarcasm and things they do to show their disinterest and really find out what happened to my son. So that's why I'm pushing them so hard. That's why I'm going to continue to fight. They could think things are a joke. It wouldn't be a joke if their own child missing and things like that. So I hear those type things when I go back hindsight and think about all the things they say to me, like it don't matter. And they think it's okay. They can do it because they think they're probably above me or something, or they're a police officer. No, it don't work that way. Life don't work that way, and it's not going to work that way in my life or in this country. So, all right, we have Tatia. Thanks so much for putting the information there. Well, thanks for moderating. Like, share, and subscribe to this channel. Thank you again. Sharing Daniel's story. You guys can do that. Help this algorithm keep going. Keep sharing Daniel's story. Get it out there. Share these other family member stories as well. Thank you, Shearers Nation. Thank you for allowing me to put your video up there. I really appreciate that. You're very talented. You're very talented to be able to put all that stuff together. I wish I could learn how to do that right now. But yeah, you're very talented at putting your content together very well. But at the same time, just the point that you actually really took the time to put the correct information there. That's the big key right there as well. You can have great content and no content at all. So you got both. You have the content, the great content of being able to draw people's attention, as well as be able to put some facts there. So I really appreciate that. Your opinions are very factually sound. I really appreciate that so much for doing that. When I ran into it, it was brought to my attention, brought a lot of joy to my heart. Said a lot of things I would like to present it in a certain way, and you was able to do that. You was able to capture that kind of thing that's in my head, right? I feel is in my head. So thank you again. Thank you again for allowing me to share that. Also, thanks so much, you guys. You got the hashtags here. Sophia put that. If you guys can use these hashtags and say her name, Alicia Navarro, you guys put that on your page as well. Keep those hashtags going as well. Help Jessica bring her daughter home. That's a young daughter. She's missing her daughter for a long time now. You guys can help her bring her child home. That would be very helpful. I'll be happy to hear that. She come back home safe and sound. Thank you again, Tati. Again, you guys can like, share, and subscribe as well. Here we go here. And don't forget the tip line. East Coast Stitcher, thank you so much for being here as well. I'm looking for these questions, you guys. If you have any questions, please, by all means, just make sure you put that, like Sophia have here, when you ask that question, please put the word question there, or the capital letter Q, or some question marks, things like that. Help me find it as I'm coming down. I'm really coming down this comment section and looking. So if you guys have any questions, I will find it. Really appreciate that. Thank you, Gina, for putting this information up as well. If you guys can help in other ways, you can go to pleasehelpfinddaniel.com and you can actually help. There's a lot of ways to help. People ask me all the time, how can I help? Pleasehelpfinddaniel.com, a lot of stuff there as well. So, I would like to tell you each and every last one of them, you guys can, but it's over the couple of months, there's been a lot of things collecting of different things that I need here to continue my fight. I had to let some things go, over time. And I want to say this when it comes to funding, again, you guys, it's been active. So I came here, I didn't know how things was cost, but once I started the searches to doing everything I needed to do to try to find Daniel, there's a rolling cost. There's constantly cost. It goes up. It's not something that just sits there dormant. Those are things that are actually being utilized to be able to do everything I'm doing here. So I just want you guys to be aware of that. That's why I ask you guys, if you can, if you have it, have it in your heart to anything to help towards me doing everything I'm doing here. I really appreciate that. I really appreciate it. God bless you for it. All right. Thank you also, Annette, for your question. I see an oversight committee has found Buckeye on fudging numbers in 2019. I don't know why they don't do oversight on Dane's case. Also have any emails went across. Also has any emails went Congress reps, mayor, FBI, etc. Yes, a lot of emails, a lot of personal. We met with the agent, for instance, with the FBI who did the case brief, and I'm still waiting on the. I put a request in. Of course, I want to know exactly what was said with this department as well. So they wouldn't let me in. They did it underhandedly. Didn't let me be a part of this case briefing, which I asked for and I requested. And I want to actually see what Buckeye represented, if it's facts and things like that to show the need for FBI come in. You guys see what happened. My son is still missing, still classified as just a missing person case. You see the stuff right here on the ground. You see all the information, the evidence that my investigator found. You guys from the red transfer paint, nothing red in the desert, two impressions on windshield. Somebody beat the windshield in. The damage on the vehicle don't match the terrain. There's not enough distance on the top of that ridge. I was out there the other day, man, my best friend, and he saw it. It'd be very hard the vehicle come up the hill, just come down in here into a ravine at 30-some miles per hour. That vehicle's heavy, it'd be bouncing around. We couldn't do things like that in a desert vehicle, ATV and UTV. Couldn't even be able to get that. We couldn't get that speed up using a desert vehicle. You got before all the trails that we created, look for the searches. He had to go through all the brush and all this kind of stuff. So it's impossible to get that speed up from the impact. That vehicles, the speed of vehicles going at the moment of impact out there in the desert. It would never ever happen in that desert like that, going across the terrain, up and down. And you guys, that's why I wanted to put my drone up. I had a video I wanted to show today, but I couldn't get it together. You would have saw yesterday. I was wanting to put my drone back up again. As soon as I was pulling out to put it in the air, the dust storm came out of nowhere, and so I wasn't able to do that. But I want to kind of give you all an indication of the BS that the Buckeye Police Department wants you to believe, that vehicle can sustain that speed in that little area. That little area coming up a hill at that, a really hard hill to come up. It's barely, a heavy vehicle, so can get up to 30-some miles per hour on that and then go down the ravine to crash. And the damages, things like that. So all of that stuff, you guys, it's ridiculous. To this date, my family's saying we don't readily recognize the clothes on the ground as Daniel's. Don't know that's clear. It don't look like something he wore. We don't recognize it. To make a long story short, but they want to make it his clothes, for instance. Let's do some forensic work on it. They haven't yet to this date. They gave all that stuff to me. I still have that stuff. Yet to have the forensics done on that stuff, on those items. As well as his electron. They didn't even ask for that. They asked for it. They asked for it. Here it is in 2022. Almost a year later, they tried to ask for my son's forensic thing. Why? Why you just want the laptop computer and all the electron? They wanted it. Buckeye wanted it at the last minute. Now that I was talking about it in the public, they wanted it. Like I was going to turn it. It did enough damage. I don't know what they're going to do with that. So that's why I had to make sure I had other go out. You guys, I've been working hard, going to meetings. With my team and I, going to meetings to do everything we can to get other things done. So definitely was able to get the forensic done so far on the electronics, but I'm still working on this vehicle and the other stuff. But anyway, to go back to that, those fudging numbers and that, falsifying reports, statistics, trying to hide crime, just like this desert. They started off before I started getting really, really national on the story. Everything we found a lot of animal bones out there. The numbers of the human remains was counting up. They was calling it human remains at the same time too. I sent those things up to them through the website. There's all human remains until Daniel's story started hitting the national side of things. Then they tried to bust them all down to animal remains except for the skull. You can't call a human skull an animal remains. So a skull is a skull. So they keep that. And then they try to bounce and roll back the other ones. They was calling human remains all the time. So make a long story short, I was up to in count probably 7 or 8. They tried to bust it on down to 1 or something like that, trying to pull those statistics down that Buckeye is a very safe place. It is not. It's not a safe place. Not in that area right there my son was missing. You find human remains, finding article clothing and burnt vehicles and things like that. So it's not a safe place. Those fudging the numbers, yes, that's what they was doing. Falsifying documents. Things I saw in the police report, in my opinion, was false. It didn't add up with the reality that I have, the reality that I found, things I've said, for instance, personally. And then you guys, I've been pointing them out so much, they pull it off the website. You can't even get that report. I have it, but you can't even get that report anymore because they know those things didn't match up and things like that. So now I'm sure they got in the background, fixing it up very good for you guys for when they release it again. So anyway, but I did reach out to these agencies. So, all right. And let's see if I have any more questions here. Do have one from Paula. Thank you, Paula, for coming on the Facebook side with your questions. You are the blueprint of what to do when a loved one is missing. Oh, well, thank you. You know, one thing is for sure, I'm gonna stop right there. One thing is for sure is that no family is an expert to this, right? Right. It does never come with a manual. I'm planning to do that as well, but there's no manual to try to what to go by when things happen. So there's some manuals out there, but I'm ready to put one myself out there, a manual from everything I learned. But the thing is, you learn. Unfortunately, you learn, and then unfortunately, you probably end up becoming good at this. When I'm saying good at it, you learn a lot what to do and what to not do. So, but definitely one thing is most families, when you're out there searching for your loved one, you're driven by your love for your loved one and your passion and your pain. Believe it or not, pain is also a driving factor as well. So definitely want to find answers. So thank you so much for that. And to say thank you so much for all that you do. And thank you, Paula, for your support and everything that you do as well. In your pain, you included other families. How important is that for you? It's very important. You know, like I said, it's not just this whole thing that my family's going through, myself, is not just our family. You know, every year, thousands of people go missing. Thousands of families are in pain. I've met families who had loved ones missing for over 20 years. You see some of the stories I put up, family missing for over 20 years. And every time I talk to these people, they talk about how I talk about Daniel, like it happened yesterday. They still love their loved one. They haven't given up. You know, like I said, the efforts might change. You know, like I said, when I go out here and finish this desert area that's reasonable to the search, I'm not going to be out there walking the desert for 20 years searching for Daniel. That's not reasonable. That's not even logical. One thing I am going to do be pushing really hard to find these answers. If I get these key places to go in the desert to look, I got these information to go exact places. That desert is huge. You know, guys, and I have been with those searches have been dedicated to reasonable stuff, meaning that all the information we got, just like Shield Nation said, everything's catered to what this guy said at the well site, right? Buckeye Police Department's direction, everything is direction to one person's story that hadn't been fully vetted. I vetted it, and I found all kind of holes in this story. It don't even match the phone records, but the thing is, that's all we know. So it got to be based on this vehicle when it showed up, from the well site, how far a person go without dropping, especially that he didn't have any water. Everything was counted for his water, and how far a person go. If a foul play happened, how far they probably take this person, all kind of stuff, all kind of things come in consideration. So I'll be out there continuing to look in the desert as far as I can with all the information, but definitely I'm going to still continue to fight. But I see these families still fighting for their love, still putting information out, saying they coming to the searches, they even came to the searches out there in the desert to help me find Daniel while telling me their story. So what I'm saying is, yes, definitely make sure that you're helping others. I couldn't be human if I didn't want to help other people when they're saying, hey, look, you know, some people don't even know about their loved one. And that's the part that's hard too, to hear people who nobody ever heard of their loved one. You know, they don't even know how to get the story out. So if I could try to help on my part to get their story out any way I can, that's where the Daniel Robinson Foundation was birthed from, bearing my son's name. I would have been here in Arizona, out in some desert, and talk about missing person cases until it happened. Unfortunately, that's exactly what happened. I'm going to be honest. Life be going on. You don't know what's going on in the world when it comes to all this missing person stuff until it happens to your family. When it happens to your family, you become a certain kind of expert at hearing about all these different cases of missing people that you didn't never hear about in your life, you know? And so, like I said, I had to do my part, Sometimes God puts you into place for a reason. You have to do your part. So that's the reason why I'm very passionate to be able to help other families as well. So hopefully, and I really believe the foundation, Daniel Robinson Foundation, will be able to do that stuff. So, all right. And thank you again for your support. Thank you, East Coast Stitcher. I really appreciate your super chat. Again, this morning, you guys have been doing that. I really appreciate that, supporting my efforts here on the ground in Arizona. I really appreciate that, East Coast Stitcher. Thanks so much for that love. I call it love, that act of love. I really appreciate it. God bless you for that. You're very kind. And thank you for supporting this channel. Also, thank you, Coco Puff, for being here. Terry, thank you for being here as well. And let's see, you guys have another question. I have one from Daryl. I have two questions coming up from Daryl and Ziggy. So Daryl have a question here. One, the first question: has the possibility of an unwanted person was in Daniel's vehicle? And that's what I need the forensic done on this vehicle. I still have this vehicle, you guys. No forensic was done on the scene. The picture here that we was able to use to make this, I have tons of pictures from, well, not tons, but a lot of pictures from the Buckeye Police Department. I have more from the rancher who found the vehicle of the scene. And not one forensic marker is there. Not one. We've got a lot of pictures, but not one forensic marker. They even told me in the interview with a witness, and it's also my recording, that they have not done any forensic on the scene. The reason why, because they didn't see with their eyes any blood in the vehicle, right? But after that meeting, of course, I've demanded for them to do at least fingerprinting of that vehicle. They say they're going to do the swab thing or whatever they say they did in their report. But I asked them to do fingerprinting, which they told me they did. They held it for a couple more days and did this fingerprinting that I requested. So long story short, to see if anybody else in the vehicle, because the reason why I got angry is because in the meeting I said, hey, look, how you know my son even was driving the vehicle? And so, and the detective sergeant said, it's your son's vehicle. He's as obviously he was driving. Like, I mean, that didn't make sense to me. How you know he was driving because it's his vehicle? It could have been stolen or anything, just because it's his vehicle. That's the kind of sarcasm, like I told you guys, smart remark. I think I'm not unintelligent or something. They could say anything in the post roll. They think we're back in the 1950s or 40s or 20s or something, and they don't roll that way. So that's where I think. But it don't roll that way. His Gap purchase, he could say anything, and I don't say anything back. His gas purchase is that morning being so low. His behavior at work site and abruptly leaving may have protected coworker. And one thing is, I did finally get. I'm telling you how this Q&A works really well. I told you guys the Buckeye Police Department watch. They watch it now. So I'm saying again, hello, Buckeye Police Department. What I'm saying, they watch the Q&A, and like I told you, I've been seeing before they remove this report. It's like when I talk about certain things in the report, I see it start being added. People say, hey, that's in the report. I'm like, that's weird. That's common sense. I talked about it on the Q&A. So everything, I call it covering your behind. In the military, we have a way of saying that, but I call it covering your backside. And some of those things they hear me say will help them try to cover their backside, right? And so one of the things is, I was speaking about this. I asked this guy for almost 3 months, 3 weeks or so, probably 3 months, 3 weeks or 3 months. I can't remember exactly, but it's been a while, about this this video they claim they had of my son at this gas station pumping that gas you're talking about. But now they're saying, oh, it's just a picture, right? But I said, well, let me see that. And he said, oh, I'm gonna see if I can get it to you. And that was weeks ago. I think like 3 months ago, to be honest. And when I said it the other night, I promised, as soon as I got the Q&A 5 minutes later, he sent it to me, emailed it to me, right? Some pictures. But the picture's so blurry, you can't tell if that's Daniel or someone else that's sitting at that gas pump. So I really don't know, but we have to kind of go with that for right now until I get some better understanding of what was given to me. But I can say they did do that. They did give me the pictures I asked for, so I was really grateful for that. So I can go and analyze those things myself and see what I see. Saying, hey, but like I said, it's so blurry. I'm really looking at it really well to try to even, my son's stature, the way he stands, the way he walked, see if that actually fit who that one person who was at that pump is definitely my son. So putting those things together. So I'll be working on that as well. You guys get an answer for that. I think that was your other question. But yeah, the leaving the protected coworker. It's a lot of things that happened that morning that just put you at pause. It just don't make sense. Also, I have another question from you. Google Maps shows red paint on the gates to the work site. Has the red paint been matched with Daniel's vehicle? I can tell you like this. I know John Q has a show, and he put out that Google image. I had to look at that picture very well. I wanted to do it at night, but I was going to talk to John Q first before I do that. There's a couple things that puzzle me, and I think he may have a different gate outside of where my son vehicle was going in, where we go in and out. Really was looking for my best friend and I. We was going up and down Sun Valley Parkway to locate a fence with red paint on it. The gate that we use to go in and out definitely never had paint on it. Not the time since I've been there. Of course, that image that he got from Google was done. I think he told me February. Like I told you guys, people ask me, hey, these satellite imagery, they always outdated. It ought to be taken before Daniel went missing, and then some satellite was after he went missing. So I never got anything around that area to see what happened, could have possibly happened. But definitely the Google Maps was done. That image when that red paint was there, or whatever that is, that was in February, before Daniel went missing. He went missing in June. And so, like I said, there was never red paint there from the time I've been in the desert. Even before I went in the desert, I used to stand at that gate all the time to take pictures. I mean, no, not take pictures, but use my binoculars at the gate. I never seen red. I did express that to him. I never seen that. But then when I look at the picture that he had up there, like I said, in the pictures I was taking yesterday, one thing I noticed is that the picture you have has this cactus on the side, on the left side, and I don't see that. And I took some pictures also of the base of the fence itself to show, see how long that fence been there. But like I said, we went up and down Sun Valley Parkway to see if there's any similar fence to the one there, and we haven't yet to find one. But I'm not saying they're not there, and I'm not saying that paint wasn't there in February, but it wasn't there in June when I got here in Arizona. So I'm not sure. All right, man. I'm not really sure about the red paint. But has the paint been matched to Dan's vehicle? There's no paint there to match up, so I wouldn't have an answer for that one. All right, but thank you so much, Daryl, for your question on that. I do have one also from Ziggy. Have a question. Question: did a family member rule out the potential Daniel sighting at the store where the woman offered a granola bar? And that's new to me. A woman offered a granola bar. I don't know anything in the case about a woman in a granola bar that's offering. Oh, okay. Well, okay. I get to saying. You know, one thing I think you guys, and that's one thing I was going to also. I really appreciate what's the Disappeared, I think the name of the show. These guys came to me early part of this year. I think I did an interview with out in Scottsdale with one of the affiliates, or it could have been them themselves. So that's why I had my little part. But they also asked me if a family member wanted to speak, and I told them how my family members felt. Well, Daniel, mother's side, his mother, and his siblings felt about doing interviews at the time. They didn't want to do it anymore. But they said, hey, we'll get them, whatever the case may be. So, hey, good luck on that. But anyway, they came out with that episode, you guys, what's called Disappeared, I think. And that just recently came out. They told me something going to come out in the fall, and it came out. And a couple of things you guys saw me do on the Q&A recently was to correct some wrongs. It really disgusted me because I've been out here on the ground. Not taking away from Daniel's mother and his siblings. The only person who's been on the ground was myself and his Daniel's sister that's here in Arizona. Was the only two on the ground. And I did bring in Daniel's mother and my older son to a press conference here once, but they don't have enough information to make those kind of judgments about Daniel's apartment. So I had to put some things I don't, like I told you guys, I have so much of stuff that I do on my own investigation that I do not tell you guys because I can't. And there's some things that I don't want to touch. So I had to go through the pictures to make a long story short, just to show you guys that Daniel's apartment is not nasty and reflecting him being, like his mother would say, in pain or something. It wasn't reflective like that. And I had to show that. And we didn't touch that apartment. That's what I'm saying. You guys, the picture I showed you guys was exactly how Daniel left his apartment when he went left that morning and end up unfortunately disappearing. The other part is to the part that you're speaking of. I'm getting at about the granola bar is a story that I told my oldest son that he also used in that video. It's something that me and my investigator was chasing leads. You guys was going from Flagstaff to Sedona to following these leads, right? And we had a lady that was in California, and I heard him say that story. He was telling that story, say it was here in Arizona, whatever case. And I was just shaking my head. Because it's almost like a room. If you tell a story, by the time you get to the other end, it changes, and that's exactly what happened. I did tell the family about this lady, and her story was kind of similar to one other person that spoke about seeing somebody that looked like Daniel to them, right? And so we followed those leads out. She's a reporter out there in California, and of course she said whoever this young man was, she offered him the granola bar or something to eat. So those things got misconstrued, and so we have yet to validate that story of California sighting. We have even New Mexico sighting. We have I had a sighting in Georgia, below Atlanta. So Daniel, in those cases, are moving around really fast, that type deal. So so I'm saying that we did follow those leads, and a lot of times the leads that have so far haven't fanned out. I'm still working on some of those as well, but that's where it comes from. So it's got some miscommunication with that when it came to family. So did a family member actually review the footage from the store to confirm that it was not Daniel? Question. It depends on which store you're talking about. You're talking about the Waffle House. I do have those footages, as in it comes to what Buckeye claimed they went to go check out, and my investigator have done as well. A lot of these places didn't have any camera footage, they say, that type deal. So, and Buckeye say they went to, and it's funny, they went to the places after we went, same places, to follow some leads that we already checked out, and say that they say they have anyway, and say it wasn't Daniel. So that type stuff. All right, but anyway, here it is. Here is it was a Daniel. Question 2. Phoenix is also known for its large homeless population. Have you searches been done around the homeless camps? Yes, I even did some volunteer work, get the flyers out, and one thing I learned about the homeless shelters here, there's almost like they have turf wars. This shelter don't miss with the other shelter. They go right across the street, and they don't let you inside the gate. We had a hard time of getting inside one of these homeless shelters. It had hundreds of homeless people behind their gate, and I couldn't get access to them to get these flyers out. I mean, a team of volunteers, and one of the suggestions was given to me is, "Hey, Ms. Robinson, why don't you downsize yourself in a sense, clothing wise, and play homeless, so you get those flyers in there, And I was contemplating that if it was safe to do so. I was contemplating on that, but I do make sure I stay on top of that, getting flyers out to the homeless population. And we did even had any. I also had some leads on that. People think they saw some homeless person. Oh, I've seen this guy before, and they end up turning out to be another homeless guy missing his left hand. So that type deal. So I am searching those things as well, following those leads. Questions. The inequality in how missing person cases are handled and is a national crisis. What changes would you like to see to the level that the level of playing field? That's because I have the Daniel Robinson Foundation. You guys, you have seen that I have the Daniel Robinson Foundation link up there on, well, not the link, but the for lack of words, logo. That's the word I want to use. But I have the logo there out, and I showed it to you guys and say, hey, look, it's coming. And as you can see, I'm gonna put this logo up real quick if I can, and you can see what that means when I says what the logo says. I'm gonna put it on the share screen so I can talk about it real quick. And let's see here. And you can understand the reason why I put that there. So when you go to the Daniel Robinson Foundation, you will eventually see this. This is the logo for the Daniel Robinson Foundation. Daniel Robinson Foundation, Bridging the Gap. And that gap is the inequalities that happen between that happen to people of color, especially. I have met a Native American friend of mine. I don't know if he want me to put his name out here, but he's a very good guy. His whole foundation is mainly to help missing indigenous women. As y'all know, that's also the big crisis here in the United States, really bad. And he's doing really, really good work for the community, as well as he's also sharing his, that's what he specializes in. But also sharing his specialty to help Daniel in his case. I met him through his brother, and at the time, and so when I met him, he definitely had met me with open arms. Heard Daniel's case. Me and him was want to do some work together. And he, offered me at first, and kind of when I laugh or smile about it, we started off to let me put my face up here so you guys can see me talking as well. But we started off talking about what the reason why he started his foundation. And and there's a term sometimes God puts you in places, I'm telling you guys, where you end up being able to help other people. And that's what happened in his story. I'll make a long story short. I'll let him tell his own story one day. But also that what happened here. I was kind of being, I saw he saw the passion I wanted to do to help other people, and he was offering sharing space in his office. And I was like, no, because to me, I'm not an Arizona person. As I'm telling you guys, I'm not here on a vacation or anything like that. I'm just not an Arizona person. And I was like, no, that's sound like commitment in my mind. I mean, well, I'm gonna be here in Arizona. So I was resisting that for a while, but then the chain of events caused me, when I got that really strong passion, caused me to come back around in like a circle. So we're working together on some things, and so the bridging the gap is like what he's doing, helping with indigenous families, as well as I'm doing things for Black families, as well as those of people of color, try to pull in that gap and close that gap, because it is that way. I found it myself. A lot of times I don't want to say that, and I found myself asked that question often by the media. And when the Petito case happened, you guys remember that. The first thing that came to me, I didn't know it, but like I told you guys, I don't know a lot of times what's going on in the news and stuff, because I'm so busy trying to fight for Daniel. I don't know what was happening. People came to me in the inbox. It's like, hey, Ms. Rousey, you heard about this Petito case, for instance? No, I have not. What about it? That type deal. I don't know. I never heard about it. And then, of course, I had some also from the family that also brought it to my attention. But the whole matter is, when I found out about it, the first thing initially for me was that this family have a missing loved one around the same age as my son. I felt like, oh my God, what's going on in this country? I'm still learning about people actually being missing and what's going on in the country. There's another family suffering with their young child, their daughter. I mean, I know these grown people, don't get me wrong, but to us, they're children, 20-some years old, young, and missing. And I didn't know the ins and outs about it. But the story was that the store was running 24 hours, 7 days a week, and it was this big old thing. And it puzzled me. That's when it kind of dawned on me, like, wait a minute. I've been out here in Arizona for 3 months, pushing hard as I can, from social media to you name it, doing whatever I had to do to try to get Daniel's name out there in the public, like really in the public, because I needed really bad. I had desert searches going, and I really need to get Daniel's story out there as far as I can. And the only way I can think of is through the national media. And so, make a long story short, I put Daniel's name out there far enough where it was actually picked up because of the Petito case, that it was put out there far enough where a viral tweet went out and things like that, and chain event. And so we were able to get Daniel's story out there farther. And like I said, that was always asking me a question about the inequality, the way I had to go through a strain, when some families actually get it at a blink of an eye without effort, get to somebody's attention and get certain things going without effort. They spent millions of dollars looking for these two. I won't say for the Tito family, but the other family, the murderer, spent millions of dollars, just a whole bunch of money out there to find that guy before they realized what happened. And so looking for him. So I'm saying those type things. I saw that. But I'm telling you guys, it's not the Petito family's fault. They deserve that. They deserve that. They deserve to get quick action to the way they did, but so do my family as well. Every family that's out there as well. So does the Navarro, Lisa Navarro, her family as well, need that urgent. Like you heard the story that's put out here of Keisha Jacobs, hearing her story, and how the mother said It's been a while before they went out. It sounds so familiar. They don't see the urgency. Depends on the people. Sometimes they don't see the urgency to really get out there. And the first thing they tell you, hey, well, he's a grown man. He can go missing if he want to. How you know that? Nobody tell you that. Did he tell you that? That's that assumption. Or they say, oh, they just ran away or something. Or they want. I mean, then if it's a child in certain circumstances, like Lisa, a little child writing a letter, she's a child in the child's mind. She's not responsible for that. So the thing is, I'm saying is, but sometimes that urgency is not there that you see. So we're trying to make sure we do what I can is to make sure I get other families' stories out there as far as I can. I caught hell trying to get equipment to do searches. I've been begging you guys for on the GoFundMe, try to make sure I get those razors and things and stuff I needed out there in the desert, and the drones and stuff I've been asking for. Cadaver dogs. I even had to charter a helicopter. So you guys, no family should have to do that. So hopefully Daniel Robinson Foundation will be able to provide some things for families so we can close that gap and families don't have to be worrying about that. And it's also what I'm doing, my advocacy is to fight against that kind of stuff and really be voiceful and vocal about it a lot, talk about it. Look, I know the pain what families going through and when law enforcement fails, when they play politics, or they can go home and eat dinner with their family and they'll tell you one thing, but then they're not doing it. They're not acting upon it. They're not really showing that kind of interest. I know people say, oh, they'll hide behind their job. Well, we got other things we got to do. Yeah, I got that too, but I guarantee if it was a police officer, you'll put some things aside. So there's a whole thing, but I can go over there, but there's a lot of things I would like to say, but right now I'm focusing on trying to find Daniel. But you best believe if I'm just as talented as She Wrote Nation is, I will be starting another YouTube channel where I'll be discussing just those things outside of Daniel, discussing some of those things where we need to bridge those gaps and those inequality that's happening. So definitely be fighting against that. What changes would you like to see? Yeah, I would love to see more inclusiveness when it comes to family. More, like I said on one of the interviews, I look, do people think that we love our children a lot less somehow? I'm really be having you guys coming at the beginning of the year. I will have a Million Father March, and to represent that, also the stereotype that's there that we don't love our kids, Black fathers especially, don't love our children. We don't fight for our children, or we come from a single parent home or something. In my case, that is true, but a lot of cases not. And that's why I'm here for my children, to make sure they didn't have to go through that. So that type of stuff. So, so it's good fathers out there as well. So just make sure we kill those stereotypes and things like that as well. So it's a whole lot of efforts that's going to happen on one end to help the other end as well. So I'm trying to do everything I can. Humanistic, I can't change anything. I'm just one guy, but I have to do my part just like I am doing now to try to share other family stories. So I have to do my part. At least I can do that. That's one thing I can do. So thanks so much, PM Channel, for your question. All right, I'm see if I can have any more questions before I get out of here. You guys, if you have any questions, please put the word question there before your question. I really would definitely like to answer those questions. Thank you, Larnell, for being here. Thank you, sir. I really appreciate it. I'm really grateful to see your name out here on this Q&A. Thanks so much for being here, brother, for all your hard work and everything you do. I really appreciate you, brother. I love you too, man. But you guys, if you have any questions, please put the question here. Oh, I have one here from S. Modern. Thanks so much, S. Modern, for the question. Buckeye is known to be a white supremacist town. And I believe that. I can tell you a story. But the people but the people know this, which explains the rude aggressions from them towards you. Yeah. And that's when I have two sides of that, from a public side as well as the Buckeye Police. But I can tell you my first initial take with that department. There are areas out there you cannot go. They are not safe, and that's true. I was out there with that vehicle. Before that vehicle, my son's vehicle showed in the desert, and this is I'm saying the way I feel it, and I really believe it. It was on the side of the road out there off of Verado Way, and it was brought to my attention by somebody who was trying to tell the Buckeye Police Department on their chats. Of course, the Buckeye Police Department took that blurry picture and tried to dismiss it as Daniel's without evidence. show me the tag number of that vehicle when I asked them to tell me who towed away and things like that. They haven't done that. Show me the VIN number of that vehicle that was towed away from that area. They have not done that. So I'm saying, I don't want to hear their mouth of looking at some picture that I look at the same picture and you try to determine it is Daniel's, isn't Daniel's vehicle. And I can't fully determine if it's Daniel's vehicle, but it definitely sure shaped like his model and everything. But 2 days later, all of a sudden, the vehicle showed up in the desert after we've been searching out there, and the vehicle was not here in this area 2 to 3 days prior, like the rancher said, and according to their own searches, and as well as my searches out there in that area. So again, but I'm saying I was out there with my daughter. Was on the side of the road with a police officer and another volunteer, and my daughter was out there trying to look at this location where this vehicle was on the side of the road. It was about to get kind of dark. It was in the daylight though, but kind of get to the evening side of time. It was looking on the ground. My daughter just sat in the vehicle. She got back in the vehicle. She got a little tired, hot, and got back in the car. And as soon as she shut the door, a pickup truck full of white guys came and yelling. I mean, in broad daylight, call us the N-word. It was really ugly, really nasty. And that's when the black police officer told us, "Hey, look, this area is not safe for black people." That's the first time I found out those sundown towns still exist. In that area, hey, just don't be caught out here when the sun go down. Take your family out of here before it get dark. And so those are the kind of things I learned about Buckeye in that area. Now, I did learn that there's a lot of great people that come out of Buckeye as well. When I say great people, it's people that actually came out to the searches who've been searching and also supporting. So it's two factors that's there as well, but that bad element is there in that area of Buckeye. So you have a lot of that as well. And also when it comes to the Buckeye Police Department, the detective, the first time I met him at the main police station, he asked me to come as a guest, to come out there to discuss my son's case. I got into the police department. As soon as I walk in the door, the white receptionist there. I say, "Hello, how you doing, sir?" "Yeah, what you want?" Just like that. Just I had to back up, like, "Oh, what did I do just now?" All to say, "Hey," and just open my mouth. And I told him what I was looking for. "What you want with him?" That type deal. I'm like, he asked me to come here. "Well, he's not here." I said, "That's strange," but he told me, like, literally, I just got off the phone with the guy. Told me, to come up there too. I left all the way from Phoenix to get there. And then some other lady called another lady and they tell me, "Well, we can leave him a message, blah, blah, blah." And as soon as I walk out the door, I called the detective, like, he came out the side door. He said, "Oh, I am here, blah, blah, blah. I don't know why they," that type deal. So it's a lot of that kind of nastiness. Like I told you guys to go to the city managers, the mayor, that whole structure of stone-faced people. That's what I call them. That's the thing where I had to stand there and look at when I'm trying to tell them what I'm doing here for my son. And they have yet to this day to write a letter, to tell them to get the hell out of their town, to whatever. Don't say nothing to me at all. There's no kind of condolences or, whatever the case may be. No kind of empathy. They show a lot of heartness, being heartless or whatever. So that's what I do pick up about the Buckeye situation. It's got some black people live out there, I heard. But that's what I hear. And I know they got their one, I don't want to use the word token guy in the department now. I don't know, try to clean it up or something. I don't know. But whatever the case may be, that's the department as well as that whole city structure when it comes to their leadership. All right. Also, I have a question here for Terry C. Question: so the police are okay to take the data from the Jeep? So the police are okay to take the data from the Jeep. They answer the information as true, but they won't accept the 11 miles or the initial turnover. They didn't know how to read their own data, Terry C. They did not get the 11 additional miles. They did not get the red transfer page. They did not get anything. Only thing they got from that report that they pulled from that data, and they told myself and my investigator, only thing they read is the vehicle was going a certain speed before at the impact of bags. That's all they could read. They wasn't educated enough to read that data report. So the data report was read by my investigator. So all this information y'all heard about that data report came from my investigator. My paid investigator I paid. That came from him. So none of that information came from Buckeye. They didn't have any information. They never found the red transfer paint. They didn't know anything about 11 additional miles, all that kind of stuff. But once they found out, like I told you guys, when we present those things, we was hesitant to get a Buckeye for things we saw. we was really afraid. We wanted the FBI to look at it. We wanted certain things because we felt this was a criminal case, that it was refusing to do it. They tried to do everything to prevent it. Like I said, instead of helping, it seemed like they was trying to hurt the case. And so we reluctantly had to give it to them because they are law enforcement. So we thought that we could work with them, they can work with us. And as soon as we gave it to them, they shut down. They started talking to me. They started having a bad attitude with him, my investigator, as well as they took the same money I've been asking for out there in that searches and desert for 40 some weeks. They could have helped and give me contribute to the cause. They took the money, y'all money, taxpayer money, and hired their own investigator just to rebut my investigator's finding. Try to anyway, which they couldn't. This investigator, I would not have put my name on Buckeye. He's supposed to be so great. Put my name attached to Buckeye, who says who he had to come. He had to literally do this. He had to literally make a full report without even laying an eye on my son's vehicle, without actually touching it, without actually tasting. I say this stuff for a reason. Without smelling it, tasting it. He have never seen my son's vehicle personally, never touched it, never seen those clothes personally, never seen the damage personally. He's working off of third-party stuff. And then he had the audacity to not even go to the dealer, to the company that make Mopar or what I think the name is, but that make Jeep, and find out what about this 11 additional mile stuff, the discrepancy. And he didn't go there, but he went to they went to some dealership. They asked a worker at a dealership, you know what I'm saying, who's not even qualified to even answer that kind of question just because they work there at a dealership company. So that type of stuff, just to rebut my investigative story, because whatever the police put in a report, 9 times out of 10, pro-police people would believe whatever the police say, right? Without question. But I'm not that person. I question everything they do. If they're not doing the right thing, I would point it out. So that's the angle I'm telling you guys what was being happening when it comes to that data. They did not get any information. They gave me everything. Once they gave my investigator, the reason why he got that black box data, they gave it to him. He said, they told him, we're not investigating. We have no investigation. Here is the black box data. So they gave it to him. Before my investigator, they told me, and also told the news crews have this stuff as well. You can't erase things off social media. They say to the public, we have no more leads to follow in this case. And they also told me and gave me everything of my son for safekeeping, meaning my son can come back for it. Y'all can take y'all behind back to South Carolina. This is over. But then, like I said, now it's a case and now it's an investigation. They're claiming all the stuff is because of you guys. And I really appreciate it. Hold on a second, guys. It's because you guys have been champion to putting pressure on them. You guys have been putting pressure on them, and that's really been helpful. Every time, you guys have been fighting for my family behalf. Like I said, you guys have been really, really champions on that, putting pressure with these phone calls and stuff I've been asking you guys to do to whatever. You guys have been doing that, writing letters to, like I told you guys this morning, when I get this protest going this year, you guys, I hope you're there to back these things up. I would have it organized very well. You guys will hear about it, but I want to throw it out there in the wind so you guys can know about it. That will be coming up, but definitely, so we're going to have to get these police departments to do what they're supposed to do. When I say this protest is not just geared to Buckeye Police Department, is geared to this whole case with my son. So we have to do something. I have to do something as a father, and I get some real movement. I want to see the police departments running around like a chicken with a head cut off for my son, like they did. Not throwing against the families. I'm saying the way they did that case. I want to see that. I have never seen this in this case, not once, where overwhelming support from all agencies all over the place. The family had to spend a dime to go out there to look for their loved ones. I had to go for GoFundMe. Everything I'm doing is funded by GoFundMe. Just to be here in Arizona, just to be out there in the desert, just to be out there flyer distribution, to name everything. I just can't name it. Just everything I'm doing here is being funded by GoFundMe and my own personal money, my retirement money. So I mean that's horrible. That's horrible when and I have had the audacity of one person even asked me, and this crazy part, the person was out in the searches. It costs money to search for your son. Damn right it costs money. These people spend millions of dollars. You do as law enforcement do, it costs money. Why are you spending taxpayer money to go look for somebody? That is questions that people ask a person like myself, like we shouldn't be doing certain things. And which I'm telling you guys, I'm doing everything I can for my son. And like I said, I'm not on vacation. I'm here to fight for Daniel, and I'm grateful you guys have been helping me. I have my own issues as well. I'm retired military. And that's why I told you guys when them clowns come to me and say, a brain injury caused my son to shred his clothes off. I have a brain injury. A lot of people don't know that, but that's something I've been. Some people say, hey, you got to tell people that, but yeah, it's true. That's the reason I'm retired out of the military. I caught a brain injury from Afghanistan fighting for this country. I have yet to this day felt like I got hot somehow and had to shred my clothes off, as Buckeye told me. That's on BS. I had to listen to when they were telling me that. I was like, that's what caused. That was one of the reasons why I decided to get an investigator as well. The BS theories they come up with, this monastery monk stuff and all that kind of stuff. So again, definitely want to tell you that as well. But anyway, let me go back to another subject and get to the questions I can. I run out of time. I do get long-winded. Don Ron, retired, and Ed Wallace, active duty. He is a crime scene expert. I wonder if you can contact I think it was Duty Ron. Did you say Duty Ron? That's right. Y'all heard of him so many times. I'll tell you guys keep throwing it at me, and I keep intending to get in contact with Duty Ron and some of these other ones that you guys. But I tell you, like Aqua Search and all that, I've been through tons and tons. People say, do you reach out to nonprofits? I do, especially when I was doing the desert. And each one of them, none of them ever came through for anything to help me towards Daniel, except for one, and that's Black and Missing. And I can be honest with that. It may sound bad, but that's exactly what happened. Black and Missing sent a drone crew out there for me to help me in one of my searches. They put a donation as well to help my searches keep going. They also use, that's why you see the pictures there. I met them at CrimeCon. They give me advice towards the foundation that we're building. So I can't give hats off to Natalie and Derica and Natalie from Black and Missing for their help, and their expertise from what they learned. These are two women who got passionate themselves and started a foundation because of what they didn't like, what they saw. So the thing is, for that kind of love, yeah, I really appreciate it. I have one, like I say, when I reach out to some nonprofits, and it's not in a bad way I'm saying it, but it's the facts. I reach out to them. I even had one like Aqua Search that say, your son's case don't fit their profile, whatever that means. I don't know, but they did on their defense. They did send me to refer me to another nonprofit who has these drones, specialized drones I was looking for. I reached out to them, had a whole search set up with that, with the Buckeye Police Department to come out and check a well, and as well as and invite these guys to come. They say they wanted some type of invite, but they're gonna come out anyway. But then the day of, they backed out of that too, with saying the staff didn't show up or something or other. But what I'm saying is, the whole point I'm making is, yes, I've reached out to a lot of people, and a lot of times it just to fall through. So, but God has been sustaining, and I have like I said, conducted over 40 some weeks of searching, and it's well over 35,000 acres of land covered. So I can speak for that, and it's all without law enforcement's help, and it's also just because of you guys have been helping, funding, and spending your time out there in the desert with me. So, question: Buckeye LE tried to invoke the narrative of possible mental concerns and the situation with the girl. Excuse me. I feel these two are deflections to cause confusion regards to the truth. What do you think? I think so too. I think a lot of it has to do with their inaction, and just the fact, saying one of the biggest things, a couple of things, you can go with that as well. It's part of the case because the girl, the name came up. It came up because definitely was part of the case. And when I say part of the case, it's something my son and I talked about 2 days prior to him going missing. Now, so she is a subject matter, but they think they use that subject matter to, like I said, throw off from their inaction. Instead of really investigating like they should, they was throwing off, they use it as a diversion to show their inaction. So one thing is to show that is the time that I had this one reporter that I work here in Arizona. Went up to Buckeye to do an interview for a story. She came back. That's the first time she got the report from Buckeye, who gave her the report. And like I told you guys, when she came to report back to me to talk about some things about the story she's doing, and she had the paper, she asked me about the young lady, and she had the report in her hand, but it was highlighted in yellow. And I'm like, well, I thought she did it to try to ask me a question, about that. No, that was something highlighted that she was given to her that way. So the story could put out about that part of the story to me. I told her right then, I said, that sounds like a smear campaign to me. Like, in other words, throw off and to discredit my son as some kind of stalker and whatever way they put up things. Because you think about this, you guys, they allowed the woman to put up her own text messages in their report. They didn't vet, they didn't go through her phone to see where she was and this and that. They ain't went through her. She said she seen something on the camera. They ain't went through her camera footage. We still don't know who the other girl. My son told me about him personally, about the other woman that was there with them that night. And who is she? Where's she at? What's her story? What she had to say about this? That type stuff. You have to also imagine the fact that let me see if I can take this off my screen as well. I want to take something off here. Okay, there we go. I was sharing screen somehow. I don't know if you guys are seeing that as well, but one of the things is, when it comes to those narratives about him having some type of issue mentally, like some drawn out issue, Daniel could have been depressed or down about life. I don't know. He's doing Instacart. When I say I don't know, meaning that he's doing Instacart, I'm down about life right now. That don't make me go disappear. That don't make me want to go disappear from my family. What I'm saying is he could have been down about the fact that he had to go use Instacart. One thing I know, Daniel, he's a really proud young man, very confident in himself. He definitely wanted to live up to his expectations and have to work Instacart because his job, not reimbursing the money. He told me about things like that, and had to go do Instacart. It could make him feel a certain way, and that don't have anything to bearing to his disappearance. What I'm saying, I don't care if a person, if they even say something before they walk out the door, and like I would joke around and say, look, if I got message, I'm just tired, I just want to be out of here and I'm never coming back. Some kid run off and they go out in the street and they never come back. Don't mean that they didn't come back because they really didn't come back. Some they just ran out there the wrong time in the wrong place, and something could have happened. We need to go find that out. But as in his mental capacity or whatever that's going on, that the narratives that's there to confuse and throw off, yes, I think so. Because one thing is, they said they went to co-workers with plural, like they told me some plural stuff. Well, when they gave me one picture, and I went to that meeting with them, and the chief hall was at the same time. Well, we took these pictures with an S. I kept cutting them off. Like, man, you keep using this plural, but I got one picture you guys gave me, the family, one picture. Like y'all just took this one picture. I want to see these pictures that you have, right? So the thing is, they keep saying these co-workers with S say, oh, he's been acting odd, strange, or whatever. Whatever the case may be. He's a field geologist, you guys. Field geologist. Barely ever come into there. Why are you so bent up and try to find something like that, and then misrepresent what I told them in that interrogation room that put me and my daughter? We were the only one, I believe, ever been in an interrogation room for Buckeye concerning my son's case. Interrogation room asking us about, and we had to literally sit there and think of anything that we could think that seemed that bothered Daniel. And my daughter came up with something that happened, I think a week or two before, that he's staring off at some wall, and that's supposed to be fast forwarded to him contributing, him running out somewhere. And also co-workers, whoever these co-workers, you don't hear nothing about one, which would sound about right if he have an opinion, because he's Daniel's friend, right? Off the job, on and off the job. He may have some opinion about some things off the job, but not on the job. He's an office worker. My son is a field geologist, so it's definitely not on the job, but something probably off the job that my son discussed. So when it comes to everybody else, they come on these co-workers at Matrix New World. That's something they just put in their report, in my opinion, just to bolster that thing to say, hey, he got some things going on in his head or something. That type deal. So, the whole bottom line, just to focus on that instead of, and make, like I told people too as well, a lot of times I feel like when it comes to people of color, especially, we're a victim of we're the victim, but somehow they'll change that narrative to say you caused your own, something happened to yourself. You caused that yourself. When something happened to you, you caused it yourself. pretty much that's what you get or something out of it. That type deal. My son is the victim. And when they come with that story about the young lady, they try to somehow make her the victim. No, my son is missing. You know, those ladies have not put in any kind of report about nothing about my son, but my son is missing, you know, and she's not the victim. My son is the victim. So we got to make sure that we keep those perspectives. And those things are definitely distractions to what's really going on about my son's case. And, those things I have to fight against. All right, I have a question here. D-Love, Mr. Robinson has soil the soil on this has soil on the sole of, I guess you're saying, of the shoes had forensics testing. Those things are still in the evidence bags. If you can share, those things are still in the evidence bag. Like I told you guys, I was able to, after hard work of the meetings and things like that, and putting things together, which I'm still waiting on these other meetings, but putting things together, I was able to get the electronics done so far. They in the labs right now getting processed. Now the clothing, the boots, and the car and all that stuff that still need forensic stuff done. I'm still trying really hard to get the funding or get the lab to get those done as well. So still working on that. I really have faith I will have that done. It's expensive storing this vehicle and all this other stuff. Is very expensive. And I want to be able to get this thing done as well as, because they also have DNA. I don't know how DNA work, but I make sure I definitely want to try to capture everything that can be caught properly. And that's why I'm pushing law enforcement, not Buckeye. That's what I'll tell you guys. If you guys have anything you want to say to law enforcement right now, just one thing from me. Give my son case over to Tempe Police Department. He's a resident of Tempe. Give my son case over to Maricopa County, who also my son went missing in his jurisdiction. That's what you guys should be speaking about right now. Buckeye have already shown that they are incapable of handling my son's case properly. I don't care what they're doing in 2022. My son went missing in 2021. I want my son's case moved to a proper place. I talked to, I'll just put it this way. Some things are going to have to eventually come out, you guys. You have high interest in my son's case. Some things I was asked not to speak about. But you know what? Those times are going to come when I would have to be forced to do so. It's only because, it's a case of interest as well. It's an interest for myself and my family. You know what I'm saying? Because I don't have time to play politics. I don't have time to play whatever the case may be, worrying about somebody's feelings. My son is missing. Their child ain't missing. So people say what all they want to say and worrying about this and that. Worry about my son. Worry about finding my son. Your law enforcement, your job is to do the right thing. Your law enforcement, your job is to sometimes you got to put your life on the line sometimes. I hate to say it that way. You know, when I was in Afghanistan, we put ourselves on the line every time we left the fob. Heck, our life was on the line sitting in the fob. You know, wondering if we're going to have a missile strike or something, anything. So the whole point is, you put your job as a law enforcement officer or in the military. Anytime you put a uniform on, you put yourself in those harm's way or whatever your job description is, you need to be out there really actively doing your job. And so that's what I'm saying. So their job is to go find my son, law enforcement, and they need to do that. They see another law enforcement agency ain't doing right, do something about it. I don't want to hear them games and, I got to do this, all the slow moving stuff. Like my son is not important to them. They would not be slow moving. You best believe that they'll be calling day and night, getting meetings together, whatever the case may be, if it was their child. That's when it become important. If it's an officer in their force, that's when it become important to them. You won't hear all this politics. You won't hear all these excuses that they can come up with a family like myself from a man who's been out in the desert for over a year, in their state over a year. They won't give the excuses like they give to me for a man that's been out this long and really fighting. You know, it'll be day one. They'll come up with none excuses because they'll be out there busting their ass for this officer or for their own child. So, one of the officer children. So I want the same energy they got. Do you believe Buckeye investigated the human remains, bones, burnt vehicle, clothing also found in the desert? Any word from Buckeye on anything? This is so sad. Now, some of those things have been made it to Maricopa County. They don't have their own labs. That stuff go to Maricopa County that we find. And like I told you, they even try to take credit for that. I had to go correct that. I had to call Maricopa County Examiner's Office because a volunteer brought it to my attention that Buckeye had it written as they found these items. They found those human remains. I'm like, man, that's falsifying documents. Here we go again. Called them and told them about that. They apologized to me and changed it. It happened during my searches that we found those remains out there. So as them actually doing stuff, I can tell you some of those human remains that they saying it was, we marked them. We have ping locations. When I first started searches, sometimes we had to go back over those areas again to make sure we didn't miss anything. And some of those items still on the ground. So we have volunteers who would take pictures of the same bones we've seen before that was never removed. They said it was going to come out and retrieve those things, and it's still there. But the part that bothered me with that, I'm not an expert, but you tell me there was human remains and you didn't come get them, and I see them still out there. That's somebody's loved one lying on the ground. And more that desert, I'm telling you, that desert does something to human bodies. It scatters you all over the place. That's the fear I happen have if my son was out there. And so I wanted to tell you that you guys, some of those things are still there. So have not been removed. So I don't know what they'll do from that point. I'm just assuming I'll do my part against what Chief Hall said. Somehow I'm keeping stuff from them when I had a whole website set up to give them information like that that we find to help them out. I don't work for Buckeye, but to help them out, help them in other person's cases and stuff like that. But that's the respect I get from that, just accusations, and as well as like I said, some of those stuff is still sitting there. All right, have Pamela Overton. Good evening, David. If Daniel's friend came over right before the disappearance, would he be brought him into this Hoove house? Do you think his house appearance was staged? You know, it's some things I really I put it out. I did put it out the other day, but I've been holding that for a while. One thing is two things that happened when I first saw, and I think that's probably where his mother get that from as well. She didn't see Daniel's apartment, and I know she made that. You guys on Saw and Disappear. She made some opinion about his apartment, and he was in pain and all that stuff. She didn't see that stuff until his sink probably did have some hair on it from his shaving or whatever the case may be. So she wasn't lying about that part. And she picked up a little hair she did to keep his hairs or whatever as memorabilia for herself. Now, but the apartment itself wasn't some sign of pain, right? Now, the way I described it to the family, it was for my pain, I guess, as a parent. You know what I'm saying? I kind of went back to parent mode where when the detectives had to go in and he showed me the pictures, and I'm like, oh my God, and I'm freaking out like, oh my God, he didn't clean his room up. Oh, we didn't teach him that way. That type deal. So I expressed that to the detective who was going in there. And I told you we was all supposed to went in there, but the landlords let them in, but they couldn't touch anything. They could take pictures. He said, oh, no, it wasn't messy. Just that, he had little things out of the way in his room or whatever. That's how the detectives express it. And also when my investigator went in as well, he expressed it the same way. Only thing is, in his investigation, he felt that somebody possibly was moving things in that room. They was looking for something, because of the way he explained it to me, like I told y'all guys on those pictures, the vacuum cleaner plugged up. He was actually vacuuming the floor before he left, cleaning up, but things were thrown over the place. And I'll show you how this thing was damaged. So we have more belief too that somebody had entered his apartment, and they may have had a key because there's no forced entry. But Buckeye Police Department is not looking into that as well. Tempe Police not looking into that as well, to say we don't have no real indication that the desert was the last place that Dan was located, other than what this guy's saying at the well site. So I'm just saying it's a lot of ways you can go in this direction, and nobody can really have a definitive on those things about Dan's location. The only thing we have is a white phone with a GPS location. That had to be. That's what the forensics has been done right now to get those information. So it's a lot of things I could tell you guys about that when it comes to his house. But as in stage, I wouldn't say stage. I would say that it's possibly somebody was looking for something. And I can't tell you some of the things in my investigation, but I had to leave those out for really credible, what they would say, circumstantial things that will probably answer those questions about why his apartment looked like that. So I want to look into it. I want to see what the law enforcement would do. Like I said, I don't work for them. They say they so good as they are. How come I'm finding out a lot of things that they haven't yet spoke about? So those type deals. So, but anyway, we'll keep it there for right now. All right, have any questions from Dog Defender? I'm sorry if this has already been addressed, but do you have any new forensics? Any information to bring you closer? You are in my prayers every day. No, I don't have anything new other than everything that's being processed right now. Still going to have to wait on those answers. There's no timeline when they're finished, so I'll be waiting on that. Of course, I'm asking, and I'm waiting, waiting on those answers. I need those answers so I can understand a lot more. I can tie some of the things I already know to those forensics. Could someone have been making? Oh, thank you, Pamela, also for the question. Could someone have been making Daniel uncomfortable, and that's why he purchased such a small amount of gas needed to leave in a hurry? Well, the video, well, not video, but the pictures that I saw, put those together. I didn't see anything that would suggest that the person. I'm saying when I say the person, I'm saying it because I'm really trying to identify this person as Daniel. I'm not saying it's not Daniel either. What I'm saying is, but what I saw on pictures, when nobody was around, no vehicle was around, other than the person getting out to pump gas, I guess. And one thing I have to look at is this. Well, it's a couple things. I'm gonna have to leave that out. That's part of my investigation. But one thing about that, as in him being someone who's been around from those pictures I saw, no, I don't think so. I don't think there's anything that would suggest that he was trying to get out in a hurry or something. No, not that I know, unless he was on a phone call and I don't see anything really other than the phone calls I know that's on the call log and things like the information I already have. But anyway, DJ Moore, thanks so much for your question as well. I know you got into I know you got into this morning, a little this morning, but if you was to come down there for a week and wanted to camp, I would want to coordinate my area with you. What would be a high targeted area? What would be a high targeted area? Well, when I put those searches back together again, we have some areas I cannot put it out here. When I do specialized searches, like certain key locations or whatever, those are kind of searches I do. Like I had one I'd done before. I wouldn't tell people where I'm going to search because I needed people on the ground. But I had volunteers. Some of the volunteers tell you I had gas cars and all kind of stuff to help with gas. But I wanted to some location I had to go check because I did a recon of the area. I like doing recon. That's what I do, military deal. Recon, somebody asked me, what recon mean? Recon, I just go over the area and check for things before I actually make a move. And so area needed to be searched. I like to tell the volunteers, hey, look, we're going to have a special ops or something. And you want to be a part of the special team, I need X amount of people to do this type of search. And then you have to meet me in a regular spot. And then on that morning, we'll leave from that spot. Then I give you the location as we're leaving. And that way, and the reason why I do that, because I don't want to tilt my hand of areas that I know need to be looked at. So that's what you ask that question to me, that's what I'm looking at it as. It's some areas that I have to search that I would not just tell the public. Like I have one coming up this month, and I can't tell the public where I'll be searching the typical places that people think you are, but I have places that I have to get taken care of that outside of being able to tell the public. So that's why I put it that way. So that, I'm sorry about that, but I definitely can't really get into where I'm going to be targeting. But as in me spending the night there, I told you, again, I definitely wouldn't be able to have an extended stay in the desert because I have so much going on here. You guys barely have time to be doing my Q&As and stuff. That's why I don't have my this YouTube channel looking like what Shields Nation do a great job. Every time I see the content creators, they're very amazing how they put content together, and they have time to be able to do that kind of stuff. I would love to be able to do that as well. The time may come, but right now I don't have that. But I just have this ability to put Daniel's story out and try to get closer to answers, so we can keep you guys support. You guys can continue to support what I'm doing. That helps out a lot. Also, Vec, Did the pictures at the gas station to match the clothing found in the car? It was very blurry, so I couldn't tell. But I would be looking at that very well too to try to put those stuff together. It's crazy how a lot of this footage and things are blurry. And but I know some people like CNN and some of these other connects I have are people who can who have technology to take pictures like that and get some clarity out of it. So I'm gonna be looking into things like that to see people who actually clean that up and get it, so maybe you can see something better. The Scooby life, and I think this will probably be one of my last questions. I'll probably take one or two or three more, and then I'm done. Is it standard practice that all employees are sent to work in the desert? It was. I'm sure they probably changed the policy. What I heard they changed some of the policy because one of the concerns from my auntie, and about Daniel, about the protocols and the safety of other workers of that company. And I think from what I heard recently, because of that, they changed some of their policies about employees going out places like Daniel did by himself, and many of the other their workers and stuff like that. So they changed that for liability purpose, I'm sure. That's not even safe and from a health standpoint. Yeah, and it's not safe in any kind of way to be out there. All kind of things can happen. My son went missing, that type stuff. So he going to meet a representative from another company who had not been vetted by your company, and that type stuff. So, all right, Pamela Overton. You can tell I'm getting tired here. Question. Thank you so much for being here. By the way, is there any new nearby restaurant businesses that might have cameras that could have caught Daniel at the Waffle House? Also, Ubers, buses, and cameras. I'm sure they are. But I do have those pictures of that the Buckeye Police Department gave me of events in that Waffle House, and there's a lot. They have a lot of questions to answer on that too. I'm going to leave that alone. I said it before on the Q&A a long time ago, but there's a lot of things they gave me. You can look at the timestamps, and with those pictures and the timestamp, a lot more happened. It's a gap of a whole hour. There's a gap of the whole hour that the Buckeye Police Department, when they gave it to me, they need to answer that. Yeah, so I just got an alert from my team. You guys kind of remind me. I need to get off this Q&A. I really do. But definitely. Yeah, but I'm saying it's an hour when I've got Pamela that the Buckeye Police Department had to explain based on the things that they say to the public and they report about the Waffle House experience, because it don't add up. It don't add up. There's a whole hour lost, and there was some indications were that it's more plausible to say that somebody was there, and why you skip these certain little areas. But if somebody was there in between those shots that they gave me, right? Somebody else was there at the Waffle House, possibly with them. So that type thing. So I'm looking at a lot of stuff there on that front. Chadwick, thank you so much. Oh, thank you so much. I really appreciate you and your sister for all your help out there as well. Being instrumental, being a geologist yourself, I really appreciate it. How high off the ground is the red paint on Dan's vehicle? I'm not sure. When I said I'm not sure, all that stuff, and I'm still waiting on the report from my former investigator. He took all of that stuff. I have never touched that vehicle, never been close enough to even measure anything. So everything I got, everything I should be getting, I had to rely on what he found. He done the measurements. I've seen the little tape thing he had. So I haven't gotten those stuff yet that I paid for those things. He got a good significant amount of money for that. Is it on the same side of his car as the gas tank? And that's one thing when you said that, Chadwick, I was really thinking about Dan's gas tank and also in relations to this video, not video, but the pictures of this vehicle at the gas tank. So it could be, yes, it could be on the same side there. If I'm not mistaken, it is, by the way. It seems like it could be from the opening his door. No, it wasn't on the door panel. It was actually above closer to the wheel well. His door into the pole at the gas pump. And yeah, it wasn't on the door. It was on the closer above the wheel well. But yeah, that's the very one of the good ways of looking at that as well. looking at the this and that, try to really realize where this red transfer paint came from on damage wise. But you know, then at the same time, you can't even tell the vehicle that was in that picture if it's damaged at all. You know what I'm saying? It sustained any kind of damage before it got to that gas station. So that type of deal. But again, thank you, Chad. Chad, thank you so much for all the hard things you do, all the wonderful things you do, coming out to the searches and helping your sister. Definitely a very wonderful person, helping us, me and myself and the team do a lot. So she's part of the team, by the way, and really appreciate it, all her efforts. And also thank you, Country Girl. This might be my last one, you guys. I have, my teams are blowing me up right now. Could the gate have been changed the same day or the day after Daniel could have hit it before you came in town? That's possible. It's possible. I can't say that that's a new gate or not. All I can say is there wasn't no red paint there. I wouldn't know the reason why they would change it. Other than, like I said, if it was damaged, that would make sense. If it was damaged, they ran into it and damaged it up, and then they had to put a new fence there. I'm not sure. That's what I'm saying. I wouldn't know. But as it stands, I just didn't see any paint. And as in the height and stuff like that of where the damage could be, I don't know that either. Oh, yeah, one thing I want to make clear, and I'm going to talk to John Hughes about this as well. That was brought to me about this vehicle not being the same vehicle from the location. First of all, that location shouldn't have been on. Jeff McGrath shouldn't have put anything out in public of this location, because this is the location that shouldn't be made public, first of all. The other part is the location where the vehicles you guys have seen out there in the public that was provided by Mr. McGrath. That red transfer paint is there. I think he had a angle. He was looking at his pictures at an angle. What it is, the vehicle, I can't really do it on here, but it's buckled. It's like a buckle, so it's like a curvature, and the red transfer paint and the yellow paint is right near that curvature. So when you look at the vehicle, it looks flat across, and you see the it's looking dead at it, and you see the red transfer paint, but no, it's actually a buckle there as well. And so from the angle where he's taking that picture that you'll have in the public, it make it appear that the paint wasn't there anymore or something, or maybe a different vehicle. No, the same vehicle, paint is there. You just couldn't see it from that angle. I have many pictures of that what my investigator took. So a lot of that stuff is not in the public. And so, but definitely that vehicle is the same vehicle that was taken from the scene. And as in everything else. So that's all I can tell you guys. And thank you guys so much for coming to this Q&A. I just see so much, so many questions I would like to answer. Yeah, you asked about the false lead, Darcy. False lead to me would be the vehicle being out there in the desert. That's a false lead to throw off from where things really happen. That's my opinion. And the reason why is because the evidence there that suggests, that also speak on, the vehicle wasn't there almost 30 days. The red transfer paint didn't come from the desert. The damage on the vehicle didn't come from the desert. The impressions in the glass came from somebody beating the windshield. So all that kind of stuff that you have to literally ignore to place that vehicle in the desert for 30 days. The searches, my searches, as well as the family Buckeye searches, the ground searches of the Civil Air Patrol, all that stuff that covered that area, the vehicle wasn't there. So yeah, they literally ignore all of that to make anything else true. So that's one thing as well. But anyway, oh man, you guys have so many questions. I see a bunch of them that I would like to answer. The racial crime, and I do. A lot of the black leaders here, activists, had questions about that. Daniel, I put it on Twitter. You guys seen the interview he did on the protest, Black Lives Matter protest, when the George Floyd case, and my son did an interview. And there was a lot of retaliation from the Phoenix Police Department, locking people up and calling them gang members and coming to their home, intimidating them and things like that. So the first thing that was given to me when I first came out here, I don't speak on it, is that racial aspect of things. There was a lot of retaliation going on, so maybe he was part of a retaliated hate crime or something. So it's possible. You can't just ignore all that stuff. You got to really look at everything. How many black men have Daniel's job? And I think he may be the only one, to be honest with you. I think he may be the only black guy. I haven't heard of or seen any other black guy. I can't say they don't have any other black employees. I just haven't seen any. But you know, I'm just skipping over some of these questions so I can get done with it, so you guys can have, you know, I feel good that I answered as much as I could, and just kind of, you know. Sean Six Mark from Live PD. Yeah, I met him doing the CrimeCon event. Yes, I met with him as well. He has produced, he has a podcast, I've heard. Oh, I didn't know that part of it, but that'd be real nice to get back in contact with him. But yeah, I did meet him out there in CrimeCon event. We discussed a little things about my son's case. Matter of fact, going through the hotel area, lobby areas or something, where was that? You know, in Vegas. So yes, I did meet with him as well. But as in him having a podcast and things like that, I didn't hear about that part. I'm looking through this timeline, this comment section out there. I ran out, thank God, of questions. When I said thank God, meaning that I didn't miss anybody's question. And if I did, you guys, you know, bring those questions on next Wednesday. I would like to answer those questions. But thank you so much for coming in this Q&A. And don't forget those families again, you guys. I really need you guys to really, if you can, come back in this video. You play it again on YouTube and get the information about these families. Like I said, Keisha Jacobs and, you know, Alicia Navarro, their children. And with Keisha, she may be an adult, but, you know, definitely, I'm saying, you know, this story is similar to Daniel's. And also Jessica Nunez, her daughter Alicia, she's a child, and her mother's suffering long enough. And you guys can help that family, help my family too. Don't forget about Daniel as well. my chief thing is to my son. You know, I'm a father; he is my son, and I have to make sure I do everything I can. But I am doing. You guys see what I'm doing, but at the same time, I do really need you guys to help these other families too, because they really need some help. I will be talking about some other families as well. If you guys know any family that want to come on this Q&A, please help find Daniel at yahoo.com. Put your request there. I want to be able to bring you on, talk about your loved one's story, help much as I can. Look out for the foundation launch date. Look out for information back from the search this month, the non-public search, as well as look out for the upcoming protests that will be happening here in Phoenix. I mean, not in Phoenix, but in Arizona. I ain't gonna say exactly where, but here in Arizona. And also the Million Father March that'll be happening at the beginning of the year, the Million Father March. So a lot of things happening. So thank you guys. I really appreciate it. God bless you. And I hope to see you soon on the next Q&A. All right, take care. Love you guys. Take care.